Sorry about that, folks. Looks like we had a little technical difficulties there starting the night stream off. What's up, witches? How's everybody doing? Alright. Nice chill Fortnite stream tonight. Enjoy has scratched the Fortnite itch here. So we'll be playing some more of that. Let's see who's online. And if nobody's online, we'll do some YouTube content. Keep us company while we're streaming. You know, see what's going on in the drama sphere. Wonderful world of YouTube. Look into some e-celebs. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's online right now. All right, that's fine. That's fine. My controller. That's the wrong controller. What are you doing, Deathwitch? Wife dropped my controller way over there. All right, there we go. I'll sign into my profile. And we'll fire up Fortnite. You know, Pac-Man's doing it wrong. I see the advertisement on my Xbox dashboard for Pac-Man Battle Royale. Alright, I think I still have this too loud, don't I? Oh, that's right. It has to load the game before it loads my settings because Fortnite. You'll hear the volume change once it loads everything. Jesus Christ. Alright, anyway. Yeah, I think they're doing it wrong. I see the advertisements for the Pac-Man Battle Royale game, and I can't help but think, like, why isn't this free? Like, why are you charging $30 for this Pac-Man Battle Royale? The Battle Royale on Switch, Pac-Man 99, the Nintendo, you know, funded one is free, and it does really well. Just like Tetris 99 did really well, and you know, now F-Zero Battle Royale is doing really well. Like, I think if you want to make some money, you should have made it free, sold some cosmetics, and I would have loved to have seen a Pac-Man Battle Royale like the one they have, done for free. I mean, it's Pac-Man. It's a like a 40-year-old game. So you do the Pac-Man Battle Royale, you make it free. You charge, you charge $5 for the Battle Pass. Say $5. And the Battle Pass can have some cool cosmetics. You can change the way the mazes look, change the way the characters look, sound effects, etc. But to really add some value to it, add mini games, add classic versions of Pac-Man. You have the Japanese version, the English version, blah blah blah. You could have the Amiga version, the Atari version, like all these different versions. They're just ROMs. Just boom, just throw them in there. One per battle pass. That'll keep people playing. You keep getting all these weird versions of Pac-Man in your $5 battle pass. So basically for $5, you're getting, at the end of the battle pass, you're getting that classic version of Pac-Man you can play, whether it be the Atari, whatever. Hell, do some of the weird ones. And for, you know, the rest of the bonus pass just starts to feel like a bonus then. Like I said, the same thing with Street Fighter. Street Fighter's doing a $5 battle pass for Street Fighter 6, but it's all just cosmetics, and most of those cosmetics are just for, like, they're just for your avatar character. So they're not shit that people want. Like, put classic games. One game per battle pass. Because they've got that classic arcade section of the hub. Put that in there. So you've got you know, classic versions of Street Fighter. You can play Street Fighter 2, all the different versions of Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, other classic Capcom games. Put Mega Man's in there. Bionic Commando. You know, people want Darkstalkers. And then Street Fighter 6 becomes this modern day fighter with a classic fighter anthology built into it. Now they'll need to add multiplayer to those games. I think that's the one thing they're missing is they don't have multiplayer. You just play through the arcade modes. But even then, like, you still get a cool way to play it. If they had a multiplayer to that, you could charge $10 for the Battle Pass. Like, that would be awesome. But anyway, let's dive. We'll dive into Fortnite, and we'll get the second half of that 2 Mad video up. Where's the... Oh, there it is. Jesus, it was disguising itself. I'll put it right here. All right, let's have a look at the rest of this.
She knew that?
This 2 Mad video while we play some Fortnite.
Basically, there was this this situation where you were, you know, the whole driving in Oregon meme comes from you're driving, reading the apology. You claim that apology was written by someone who later turned out to be some kind of like...
Sorry.
What's it doing? Oh,
Do
there
you
it is.
have, like, is there any evidence that he's the one that wrote all that? Like, the apology? Did he write it out? Like,
No, it's just like, he sends me a text message, he's like, rewrite it so she doesn't know. Like, yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's
I don't really
mention that a lot.
There's somebody else wrote his
That's a
apology.
disregard for truth, right? She knows that it's not a true apology. She puts it on the internet. That also is a defamation case.
She knew that?
Yes, she knew that.
I'm not
basically, there
You
was
have to be
this,
able to prove she
this
knew that, though.
situation where you were, you know, the whole driving in Oregon meme comes from you're driving, reading the apology. You claim that apology was written by someone who later turned out to be some kind of like creep himself. Like, what is your... I guess I was curious if you could go deeper on that, like who that person is.
That guy, he was an opportunist that he saw the opportunity of my... So she has roommates, right? He's like an opportunist. He saw it as a chance to get with girls. Yeah.
Who is that guy? Who is that guy?
Just some kid who had a DJ career that got destroyed when everybody found out that he was having sex with a 15-year-old.
How old was he?
You didn't
He
know
was 19.
You didn't know that, like, while you were hanging out?
No, I did know that. At some point, somebody told me that, and I was like, that's weird, and I just kind of ignored it.
Okay. You just kept hanging out with a guy?
Not really. I didn't hang out with the guy very often. You gotta understand.
He's just a guy you knew? Okay.
I've met him like 3-4 times, like something like that. Yeah, it's just like, well, the thing is, I don't have friends IRL. I saw him as many times as I saw Bella.
I don't
you know
have
what mean?
friends
Like,
IRL.
One of the closest people.
Whose
I knew
fault is that, too, man?
here in LA,
Well, doesn't matter. He's dead
How
now.
many times you see Bella, though? Like, roughly?
Like 4 or 5 times, something like that. Less than 10.
Did you end up seeing her after the Oregon apology?
I don't think so.
Okay. And then you texted her apologizing, like, more meaning, like, actually meaning it afterward, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you actually felt like you meant the apology, what were you apologizing for?
Plenty of stuff. I was saying like all types of things, like psychopath, sociopath, doing drugs.
Because you're saying now that she was saying you can whatever essayed her while you were in the relationship. So now I'm trying to understand, like, what were you apologizing for? Were you like doing like a lip service apology for the SA stuff, even though you didn't mean it?
Oh, yeah. One part of it is that, well, I wanted her to forgive me. That's one. So that meant buying into her delusions so I could like get her to forgive me, right? And then the other thing is like
He was thinking with his penis, is what he's trying to say.
Obviously, I appeared like a bad boyfriend. I don't know if I meant it as like a sincere apology. It's the most sincere one that I've given her, but it's like it was mainly because I wanted the girl back, right?
One thing they don't disagree on is the obsession he had with her. Goldie Bell claims she was harassed and stalked by 2Mad, which is part of why she needed the protective order against him. He would use alternate phone numbers to message her a bunch of nonsense, spamming I Miss the Rage, which is a Playboi Carti song famously covered by Mario Judah, over and over and over and over. He sent her the Easter Island emoji hundreds of times. He said Donda about 1,000 times. And he also sent her messages trying desperately to convince her to speak to him again.
I know there is nothing I can do to take away the damage that I have done to you, but at the very least I want to take responsibility. The way that I treated you and viewed you was not okay. I pushed past your boundaries for only the benefit of myself. I made sexual advances that you were clearly not comfortable with, and I chose to ignore it. I regret all of that so much. As for the kind of jokes that I made, it was never my intention to make you fear for your safety, but I understand now that's how I made you feel. I am sorry. As if this was all not enough for you, I acted very obsessive after I realized you had left. I am working hard
All
in
of these
therapy
things
to
are
correct
true.
the parts of my brain that allowed me to act like this, and I'm going to make damn sure I never repeat these actions to anyone else. Enjoy, love. I'm good.
In these messages, it's clear he knows he did something to her, but doesn't really specify. Regardless, he continued messaging her for weeks.
When you were spamming her in messages, okay, what time was that? Like, at what point in your relationship was, you know what I mean?
I did that all time, but I don't know.
Why did you do that? Were you
I don't
just
know.
like desperate for her attention, or?
Sure.
Like you were in love type of thing, but like
I get. Oh yeah, no, I was completely infatuated with this girl. That's why I also say like when you're like dating or whatever. Because I don't know, man. Like it's very invested. That's the word I need to use.
Yeah.
Very invested. Very
Were there not
People,
like? I guess it's like you were invested. I just feel like I don't know. There must have been other girls you could talk to. You're like famous.
No, there's no.
Yes,
girl
there were
I'm
other
really
girls. You
invested
just
with.
weren't thinking
So it
about
was
it.
just a fixation on her in particular. I see.
I mean, like people don't want to use the word dating, but it's like, bro, yeah, that's what I had the largest on.
Was she invested?
Yeah, I think so.
There are a lot of other interesting pieces of information from this stream that iron out some of the details the public has been confused on, at least from Tumad's perspective. One thing he says was that during the
you
sexual
have water,
encounters he
Ben?
had with
I'll
Goldie
take that.
Bell, he actually didn't even enjoy it, but he claims that she did.
was there any point where while you were f***ing or doing whatever that she
It was
switched
so
up
gross.
during that?
No, when we were having sex, it was like, I don't know, she said, when she did tell me, like after we had sex, I was just completely like grossed out and like, I don't want to do that again. I was like, I need to take a shower. And then she was just kind of like, whatever. She was like, laying down on the bed, like face down. And then like later on, she was like, well, I enjoyed myself. And then I just sort of said nothing. I was like, I didn't want to tell her like I hated it or whatever, but she was like, yeah, she said
Sorry,
that she enjoyed it.
she enjoyed herself? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, she said she enjoyed herself.
Okay.
She said, I enjoyed myself because I was giving her signals that I didn't like you.
Keep in mind, Tumad was also a virgin before he met her, and here he is saying all of his times having sex weren't even enjoyable. After this stream, I got added to a group chat with other drama channels to talk about the
Yeah, he's clearly
allegations.
lying.
A bunch of people were in there, and for the time I was there, it consisted of everyone
Or
trying
was
to convince him to
clearly
take the
lying.
allegations seriously and make a proper response because his goofy, aloof attitude towards it all was making him look guilty by default. He was also working on a WordPress website at some point to prove his innocence, but I don't think that was ever finished. Meanwhile, his tweets were as schizophrenic as ever. Tumad will remember this. Guys, you can't make edgy jokes. Freedom of expression is Jover, demonetized. Kinda having everything happen all at once. Maybe it's ADHD. I don't know. I think I need a new lawyer. In any case, I won't myself or whatever, but I will lose faith in humanity forever if I don't get vindicated. Bowling noises intensify. Lord knows the community is itching for some drama to get knee-deep into. This might be compelling. He was basically begging for someone to make a video debunking the allegations for him so he would be off the hook. He asked me for as
What it
much in
sounds like.
DMs multiple times. He also asked me to loan him like $40,000 to pay for his lawyer, which he said he would then pay back tenfold if he won through making more videos. Gotta say, not the most enticing offer. Ultimately, Goldie Bell's restraining order was granted. Tumad was to not contact her for 3 years. Whatever the truth of what happened between them, he had no formal criminal charges and was a free man. Many expected him to turn a new leaf and get back to making the content everyone loved from him. Why wouldn't he? Unfortunately, that just didn't happen. Instead, his brain began to Tumad continued to schizophrenically post into the void on Twitter every single day. Sometimes he would deny any wrongdoing related to Goldie Bell. Sometimes he would claim he did assault her and he would do it again. Part of this can be chalked up to his mental illness, which J-Reg claims is schizophrenia or autism, and part of it is because he was doing drugs. A lot. Tumad had already admitted to using ketamine multiple times, admitting he didn't even know how much he was taking and would just snort it indiscriminately. During a stream with Kanklemore, he also said he was taking Xanax. This Xanax was not prescription. Not only was it not his own, it wasn't a prescription at all. It was a Mexican-made version called Pharmapram. This version of the drug is often made with fentanyl due to its cheapness when compared to the actual compounds to make proper American Xanax. Even in small doses, this can prove deadly. Fentanyl has become such an epidemic that country artist Jelly
fuck, you
Roll
got on
recently addressed the
fentanyl.
United States Congress about the epidemic of overdoses related to the drug.
I mean, he's
Tumad was
rich.
taking
Why is he
Pharmapram
getting, like,
regularly. In a
black
live stream
market
with
shit?
Kanklemore, he said he'd taken many of them at once.
There's a lot of different things I've heard about Xan today, and I'm like, am I gonna die?
If you're taking 20, yeah, you're gonna die.
Okay, I won't. Okay, I won't take 20.
Yeah, probably don't even take 5.
He probably ended up taking 20 at some
you said
point.
you wanted to
Fuck!
take one, if you
The
take
writing
3,
was
you're gonna die.
literally on the wall with this one.
Today?
Jesus.
Really?
Not real. Like I would just keep popping them in, and then I'd wait a little bit, pop it in, and then wait a little bit, pop it in. Do you know what
What's
I
a
mean?
little
Yeah.
bit?
And then I would do 2 at a time.
While in this drugged out state, he even said something that some have taken as a
Jesus.
full-on admission to the Goldie Bell situation.
Even in the recording with where I was like being that girl, it's like you can tell this has got his head on straight. Like, yeah, he's doing irreparable, reprehensible shit. He is
Kind of an admission, not
insane.
really though.
With all of this combined, it's hard to take Tumed at his
I
word
mean,
for almost
irreparable
anything.
shit
To put
could
it
have been
scientifically, he's
referencing
fried, he's
a
cooked
lot
on
of
it.
things.
He seemed to be
But
sinking
yeah, his brain
deeper
was
and
fucking
deeper
fried.
into this activity, spending his days rotting inside of his bedroom and getting high, and appearing on live
Like the
streams
real
to
question
talk
is,
about
would
all of his
he have been
struggles.
caught
Never wanted to keep
with
years.
something or
Yeah,
for
like
something had he not
years, man.
OD'd?
It's like chronic.
What do you think that is?
Like, I mean,
That's
the
something
writing
I've
was
been
kind of on the
asking
wall with this
myself
one.
that question for a long time. All I can tell you is, like, it's just been a lifelong struggle, and it's just, there's a lot of different things you can try, but really, it comes down to, like, the motivation the person needs to do it. And then, when he does do that, you might stop resenting all these normal people, and you might be happy and fulfilled.
Maybe.
Or not. Maybe. Or not. Or do
Dude,
more
he is
good
fucking
than
out of
bad.
it in this.
I mean, I've been there.
Yeah, have you been there?
Yeah, I've been
Like, his
clean
mind
heroin
is
for some
gone
years.
right now.
That's why you're so chill, bro. I'm just kidding.
You're probably right, dude. You're probably right.
I've been just smoking whatever the fuck I'm given. I can barely walk. Oh, it's hard.
What'd you do?
The Xanax.
Oh,
The Xannies, man.
I went on a bender in Xans once.
I think that's what I'm gonna start going into soon.
Don't tell
A
him
nanny
about
bender?
a bender if
That's
you're.
the worst kind of bender.
Why?
Okay, so if you
Yeah, there you go.
get
Do something to
Xanax
scare him
and you
away
get
from
off
it.
of it'll fucking kill you.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna get addicted.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He did.
Okay, that's terrible news.
He was
Then he
sinking
died.
further into his addiction to the point
Wait,
where he would take
is that
anything.
opening?
Weed, Adderall, Xanax, ketamine.
Did I
meth
do something
even.
to open
All
it?
of this was supposedly a part of his regular waking diet. He couldn't even walk, sometimes he was so deep in it. This is an extremely hard thing to pull yourself out of. In late January of 2024, it seemed things may be getting better. He messaged Kanklemore saying he was actually sober. This news didn't last very long. Within days, he was posting videos on Instagram of his ramblings, describing his life in no uncertain terms.
Okay, so it's like this, right? You have 3 lawsuits, and then you're like 22 years old. You smoke ketamine meth combination. And what was the thing? What was the thing in the beginning? Oh, sorry. No, I'm chilling, but I make loud noise, motherfucker. No, chill. Okay, wait, go back to the thing I was gonna say. What was I gonna say? What the dude, bro, I haven't had good. No, it's a bar though. Say it, dude. No, I'm not saying it. No, I'm not gonna say it. What was I gonna say originally?
On his Discord server, he was streaming his activities to his mods while tripping out.
What the f is going on with this guy? What the f is going on with this?
He ain't getting
Why
away.
is he taping his f***ing arm? Next thing he in Dead Island, what the f weapon is he making?
Oh my god.
What is he gonna do with that dongo?
His final live stream was on February 8th, 2024, and featured him once again spamming gibberish to his audience. Many believe the following video is him foreshadowing his own passing.
It's the question you cannot answer ever. Why did I kill my...
No, don't say that.
Say it!
Why did I kill myself?
Stop the internal conflict and say it!
Yep.
I don't need to yell.
He did
Fuck, they hear
kind
me
of
when they-
foreshadow it.
On February 14th,
Huh,
2024,
makes you wonder if he did it
TMZ
intentionally.
reported that Tumed had died of a possible overdose. The internet erupted at the news. On Twitter, there was a celebration. Hundreds of thousands of people cheered on his death. Many of them were unaware of the details of the allegations, and instead cheered it on because he was racist and transphobic. Those that did know about the allegations mostly expressed confusion. On YouTube, fans expressed disappointment in comment sections. They took to the most memorable videos and podcast appearances to mourn the death of a talented creator.
Like they gave me all the bars I needed.
Somebody that we did like 2 Mad's content together, like we did a stream and then they got cited in this court case. 2 Mad is dead.
Oh, this is them
Yes.
delivering the news.
The cops found his body. He's dead. TMZ just reported it. He's fucking gone.
Oh my fucking god.
This is not like a joke. I'm not pranking you. Like he killed himself. He overdosed. Law enforcement sources tell us the internet personality was found unresponsive Tuesday night at his Los Angeles area home. It was after somebody called in to ask for a welfare check. He hadn't been heard from for a few days by concerned parties, and he missed some appointments. As a result, the cops were sent to check on him, and that's when we found the body of unfair Hawaiian evidence state. Our sources say there was drug paraphernalia found on the scene.
Yeah, yo,
I
dude.
talked to this guy 1 day ago. 1 day ago, I talked to this dude.
What do you mean? What was the context?
He just messaged me. He said, am I a genius on the 9th? And I said, yes. He said, why in layman terms? I said, you're really funny and made good videos. And he didn't respond. I was planning on doing a video about him soon with an interview. Like a post-lawsuit interview because he didn't lose it, but he just killed himself.
Yeah.
He straight up died.
Whatever, I don't know. I can't really...
God, Tom, the music choice during this.
Like, I just gotta basically just not think about it for a bit, I guess, but yeah.
No, yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say. Like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to say about it. It hasn't really hit.
Yeah. Do you think you'll make a video on Tom Tart, or you think you'll let that be, or what's your...
Maybe in a week or two. I'm
Yeah,
traveling
God.
out, so I really can't right now, but...
Yeah.
Wow, really? Nothing up here.
Alright, whatever. Safe travels, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. You too. Take it easy.
Yeah, I will. Bye.
He was just like fucking like slapped in the face with that news. Like he was just stunned. Imagine that. Yeah, if you just talked to him the day before and you're making content with him, just
like partying in Mardi Gras or whatever.
yeah, no warning for them. I guess if you watched that last live stream though, there was kind of writing on the
It
wall.
was clear
but
that his final days were not peaceful, but to this day we don't technically know how he died. According to TMZ, they were told by the police that it was a possible overdose, which is a reasonable assumption, but we
yeah,
don't
they're
really
not going to
know.
confirm
His
it
Twitter,
without an
effectively
autopsy.
his diary, was marked
but
with incoherent
more than
nonsense
likely, yeah.
during all of February 8th. His
That's
last
just how the
tweet
police
ever was
report
just
things. If
two
they don't have a
words,
definitive answer, they don't
neutron
give one.
star.
It'd been a while since we worked with him because of the spiral he went down and the that came out. It's not like we were actively still working with him through all of that. He used to say a lot of terrible to, like, Matt. It was a spiral that started pretty much out of nowhere. So most likely drug-related, and it completely destroyed
Definitely drug-related.
him as a human being. No, I hadn't talked to him in quite a while. After the stuff he was saying, like, to Matt,
Too
it
Mad
was very clear.
should
he
be a
was
cautionary
not
tale
the
for what
same
happens when you get
person
too famous
I,
too fast.
Played games with
If you're
back in like 20.
you don't surround yourself
whenever
with the
that
right
was, like
people or you're
Rainbow
not
Six,
prepared for that
he,
level of attention. This is what it can do to you.
himself, so I hadn't
You know,
talked to
this
him
is
in a
how
while.
it can end.
He did message me like whenever TwitchCon was, seeing if I could give him a pass because he
Got
needed
fat,
to do
too
something
famous,
there,
too fast,
which,
and too
in
young.
retrospect to some of the things people were claiming, is really kind of chilling. I didn't answer, but that was looking at like having that and then seeing what people were saying about what he was trying to do at TwitchCon is really weird now.
It's a really situation. It really is. Like, I've seen so many people say so much bad shit about him. I'll be honest, from personal experience, he was an asshole to me as well. He tried to poach one of my editors from me, and that's pretty normal in the YouTube scene, like editors getting taken on by other YouTubers. But he went behind my back
Shadow
and then
Complex
reached out
post?
to one of my editors, and he said, you know, whatever
Weird
Pyro's
that they
paying
did
you, I'll
that to
pay
me.
you double. He was really unapologetic, and he basically just blamed it on his ADHD. And then, like, a couple of days later, he deleted his entire Discord account, almost as if to kind of like hide the evidence. So I've had bad experiences with
Yeah,
him.
but deleting your
But
Discord
that
account
being
doesn't
said,
delete
as much
DMs
as I
though.
see everyone
I mean, it
dumping on
does
him on
replace your
Twitter
name with
for, like,
deleted user,
horrible
so I
stuff
guess
that
you
he's
got
done,
plausible
that's still someone
deniability at that
that's
point.
incredibly young that died,
Yeah.
like 23. And also on top of that, that's a situation where someone's parents have outlived their child, which I think is just, it's fucking
Yeah, that was my
horrible.
first question. Is like,
Passed
where
away.
are
It's
the
really
parents in
fucking
all
sad,
this?
Man, that's 23 years old. I mean, that's actually really that's legit
Yeah, that is
sad,
very
dude.
really young.
What contributes
He's still
to
a
his mental
child.
state, in my opinion,
Kind of.
is
College
that
kid.
he constantly wanted to up the ante and went from like troll to being a genuinely
This is why
weird
people
guy
that young
who
are referred
also
to as
was
kids,
definitely doing a
'cause
bunch of
they do
shit
crazy
behind
shit
the
like
scenes,
this that no
according to
adult would
other
ever do.
witnesses
Well, most
and
adults wouldn't do
victims
it.
as well. And there's a sense of desperation that people feel when they feel like their time in
Just
the
that lack of
spotlight
life
is
experience, you know?
waning, and then they lean into the worst tendencies and like try to grab on. It's like you're in a state of free fall
and you're trying to grab onto anything and everything you can in that state of free fall. There are always contributing factors to people behaving in the ways that they do. It's not an excuse at all for their actions. I'm not a defender of Too Mad at all. As a matter of fact, I did not like him at all. He was consistently harassing me, routinely. In a perfect world, however, he should have been institutionalized. That's what should have happened.
When the controversy around him began, he told me his father had started smoking again after a long time of having quit because
Okay,
the dad
there's
was
some
so
of where the
stressed about
parents are.
seeing his son appear in YouTube drama thumbnails. I
Oh.
don't think he deserves to be dead. That's my hot take for today.
Shit.
My hot take about
He was
corpse.
having a
I
negative
do
effect on
really
his parents.
feel
They probably,
right now, at least,
if
like
they
the
were
internet
talking, they
feels
were
Too Mad
probably
gave
adding stress
an
to
awkward
Too Mad,
teenage
which led to
boy
his
a
drug
false
use,
sense of
probably.
being understood and
If I had to
false
take a
sense
wild
of
guess, I
purpose.
mean, I don't
It gave
know.
him opportunities and social and financial power, all of which he abused at some point. And it encouraged him to lean into his eccentricities until the person he was offline and the person he was online were no longer distinguishable. It hollowed out his mind to the point where his video responding to the allegations about him, he was complaining that it didn't get enough views on YouTube.com. It gave him an endless stream of stimulation that allowed him to stay atomized and alone and content in his room. And then it provided him the pathways to drugs, which ultimately killed him. I can here rattle off the same platitudes that I've been rattling off on this channel for years. Have homies, have love. Don't spend 14 hours a day on the computer. Don't think you're too good to know people. Don't think you're too good to
don't
love
be
people.
terminally
Don't
online.
become too warped into the
Go touch
character
grass,
you're online.
losers.
I don't
mean,
think
when you get done
Too Mad
watching
knew
me,
how
of
to
course.
be a real
Or,
person.
hey,
I don't think he
Twitch has
ever
a mobile
had
app. Take me with you.
The only thing I really do want to say is over the last few years, I've started talking to more and more people who are strange in some way, autistic or schizophrenic or something. And
Because that's what get
when I talk
attention.
to them
That's
and
what
I
gets
listen to
attention
them,
now.
What really stands out is how grateful they are that someone is taking the time
Yeah,
to
is
understand them,
giving them
not
attention,
just
'cause in real
viewing
life,
them as a nuisance. And I don't think being a nuisance
Autistic
on
people
the
can be
internet
off-putting, and
warrants
most
death
people don't
sentence.
know how to respond to
And I
them, so
don't
they
think
just
that
avoid
is
them.
a good enough excuse to celebrate someone's death.
Yeah.
I don't know
Which
how
is
he
sad,
would
but that's
wanted
the
to
reality.
have been remembered. He was a deeply nihilistic person, and I don't think he believed in anything besides himself. It's ultimately up to you as to what you think the lesson here is, if there's any lesson at all. And because I don't have a conclusion, I also don't know how to end this video, so Baba Booey.
Belle Delphine posted her own statement saying, after talking online for around a year, Too Mad flew all the way out to the UK to film a video with me, and we spent 2 days together. Over those 2 days, he was friendly, funny, playful, and a lot more shy than I expected. We were almost the same age, both enjoyed making random shit on the internet, so I related with him a lot. I know lots of people who were hurt by him, and it's not all magically washed away, but serious substance abuse can bring out the worst in some people, changing them in ways that are unrecognizable. He created a cycle where the deranged and erratic efforts of drug abuse led him to isolation, which in turn exacerbates the substance abuse. It was so sad to watch all of this unfold. My old
that's why
best
it's called
friend
a
who
spiral.
actually introduced
You-
me to Too Mad also
you get
died
caught
from
in a
drug
loop,
abuse in the exact same way,
and that loop
which has made
drags
me
you
feel
down,
even more
creating
heartbroken about the situation.
spiral.
Both of my last interactions with them were nearly identical. I'm really sad that he's gone without ever knowing what life could have been like for him without his drug problem, or to have even lived to the age to be able to self-reflect on his insanely unique adolescence he had growing up on the internet. I found his content
Yeah, I
hilarious
mean,
and
he
admired how
had-
confident he seemed in his videos.
I mean, he
was so
probably could have
creative
recovered
often
and done
shared
something-
ideas with me, and we'd both laugh about them. He really
Done some
created
pretty
his
great
own
stuff.
genre of YouTube videos,
Most
doing it all
autistic
while
people
so
tend to be
young.
really
He inspired
smart.
me a lot,
It's
and
just
I will
coming
miss
over
him.
that
Those with more
that
negative
hurdle, that
experiences
social
also
anxiety, just
posted,
coming
but
over the
not
problems
exactly
that
in
come with being
celebration of his
autistic.
passing. As of his death, Goldie Bell posted the
Too Mad
following,
showed
saying,
signs of,
I don't
like,
know how to process the
high
news of the day
intelligence
as
at
passing.
times,
It's a
but
lot
it
all
was-
at once, and I have conflicting emotions. He was a terrible, terrible person, and people tried to
It
help
was all
teach him how to
locked in there
properly dose his
somewhere
drugs
underneath all the
because
other
they knew
stuff.
He would do it anyway, but he would do the opposite to get a reaction from them. He took it too far before, and he took it too far this time. I don't feel relieved because I don't know what will happen from here. I'm nervous about the internet's impending reaction as I already see it's trending on Twitter. I'm not happy he's dead. I'm not sad. I'm shocked, and I can't feel anything but dread. I feel terrible for his family. Shortly after this, Goldie Bell deactivated her account. His former video editor posted his own statement as well. The last few days have been very difficult for me. I first started editing for Too Mad at the start of 2021, and although I had no real skill at the time, he was extremely patient and helpful with me. He allowed me to grow my skills over time while working with him. He made it clear that he believed in me. I was very excited around this time as I'd been a huge fan of him and his editing. It felt like a dream come true. Eventually, I would completely take over the editing of both the Too Mad and Too Mad 360 channels. I worked full-time until the beginning of 2023. In the time leading up to when I had quit working for him, Too Mad had become heavily addicted to ketamine and DMT, and it became increasingly difficult to communicate with him. I found it extremely challenging to create any narrative with whatever footage he would send me. It also became clear that he no longer had the same drive to create videos, and I decided it'd be best for me to find another client which he understood, albeit with disappointment. I tried my best to consistently communicate with him after this and keep him company as best I could, as I understood he did not have many people to talk to and was worried what he might be doing left alone for too long. He told me that he was seeking therapy and was working on bettering himself. I found this very difficult to believe, as I don't think he even knew what that would entail. Over time, my frustrations with him grew, and I eventually found it impossible to talk to him. I now understand that many other people have had the same experience. Something I would like people to understand is that no matter what the subject matter was, or what it was you were trying to bring to his attention, Tumad would only ever respond to you in a cryptic, meme-like speech, which he would then have to interpolate into something understandable. This was the case with work assignments, personal stories, basic questions or requests, etc. The crazy, unintelligible personality you watched escalate over time in his videos is exactly who he was in his personal life. This is what made it so hard for anyone to try and help him with his addiction and any other troubles, as not only could he not listen, he would derail anything you were trying to say into a nonsensical mess. This ability to communicate only became worse as his drug abuse became more constant, ultimately resulting in a completely different Tumad to the one I had first been a fan of and eventually became friends with. A crazy and erratic personality. Yes,
yeah, he had kind of the
talented, funny, creatively ambitious,
YouTube equivalent of a Walter White-like
person.
arc.
The response to Tumad's death has been equal parts upsetting and unsurprising.
Whatever his real name was disappeared, and Tumad was all that remained.
Attacks and emotional abuse. His behavior towards women in the space I find particularly disgusting. I did not find his incessant edgy trolling within the past year funny or acceptable. Although his passing pains me personally, to those who were hurt by him, and find relief that he is gone, I understand you. I can only imagine what it was like to be on the receiving end of constant harassment from someone as cynically relentless as he was. I am, however, emotionally torn. Watching him project his mental deterioration in real time over Twitter in the past year has been very unsettling to me. Knowing his self-destructive behavior was a result of desocialization, drug abuse, and an inability to understand and communicate with the people who wanted to see him on the correct path. I, like many others, spent countless hours trying to help him get his life in order, trying to explain to him why his behavior could only end in disaster, but to no avail. I cannot stress exactly how far gone he was towards the end. He would frequently send me several screen-long rants about the discoveries or theories he had come up with through psychedelic trips, which could result in the transformation of our world, giving examples of physics equations and anecdotes from famous scientists like Einstein to back his points. He had become manic and had severe delusions of grandeur. I wish there was a way he could have gotten the help he needed. I wish he didn't handle loneliness and confusion with drug abuse. I wish he didn't treat people the way he did while having so much potential and wasted talent. I wanted more than anything for him to text me out of the blue one day with a positive, coherent plan of what he wanted to do with himself next. I hope that his family finds peace, and I hope people can take some sort of lesson away from all of this. Rest in peace, brother.
I hope his family
This is where
avoids the
many
internet
expected
for
the story to end.
a good 6 months to a year. Just avoid all social media and YouTube entirely, because
10 minutes after the announcement of his death,
the internet's
going to
be filled with
popped up. I
with
can
this,
finally say it. Tumad was
shit
a
like
rapist
this.
and a pedophile.
And
Over
I
the
couldn't
past few
imagine
years, he
being
tried
a
to murder
parent
me
and having
multiple
to
times
see
for helping the police and
internet
detectives in
documentary
multiple
after
states to
video about
investigate
your
a lot
kid
of horrible
ODing
things he's done.
because he
wanted to
got
take down
internet
multiple
fame.
ways
Like
to
he went
survive by getting
from
behind the wheel, from
normal
going head-on on a freeway
normal
with being
son
high
to
on
these
drugs.
people
He didn't
to
succeed
internet
once,
celebrity
he
in like a
overdosed
year or
before
two.
killing
Like
anybody, so he tried it
that's a
again.
short
Despite
amount of
him trying
time
to
for a
murder
parent
me
to
and
be like,
multiple
I know my
innocent
kid,
lives,
and then
I
all of a
tried to
sudden
help
they're
law
boom
enforcement to make sure
propelled
he's
into this,
safe,
and then
doesn't
they're
get
dead.
hurt, and doesn't
Like,
harm
oh
anyone.
god, that's a
From
lot
this,
to
there were a few
process in a
corroborating
short amount of time.
testimonies. Robert Ross posted about what happened at TwitchCon. This is a lot. I witnessed firsthand Tumad's threats on James's life during TwitchCon. He couldn't even go home because he knew his address and was en route to Vegas after
Yeah, his
threats.
parents
He had
need to
use our
delete
hotel
Twitter
room to hide
because of
out while
this.
waiting for law enforcement. Can back this up
YouTube
too.
because of
He was
videos
scared
like
for
this.
his life at the partner lounge during TwitchCon
Threads,
Vegas, and
all
talked to
their
security at the
social
event
media
because of threats
apps.
made towards himself.
His
James
parents need to
elaborated on his
isolate for a
perspective.
while.
When my friends and colleagues say that my
They need
life
time
was
to
in constant
process.
danger,
They're the ones
we're
I
not
really
talking
feel
about
bad
just
about.
threats. Within a short time frame, I had a bullet hole put in my office window. Was
Jesus.
told to wear a concealed bulletproof vest when I'm in public. Witnessed a SWAT team
I mean,
with
that's
ballistic
good
shields
advice for
outside
any
of my
famous
home,
person.
and had to cooperate with an anti-terrorism unit when the rapist made implications of people's lives being in my control at TwitchCon, leading to the entire convention center being surrounded by police SUVs. This isn't even all the things I, my colleagues, and my close ones had to endure, just to give a perspective. I don't think I need to explain why I was not talking about it publicly, but if multiple people coming forward confirming what I said isn't true enough,
Yeah,
a
it'd
lot
be
of
like pouring
information is now
gasoline
public
on a
records and
fire
can
if
be
you talk
accessed
about
by
it when
anyone.
he's that
There was never a
level of
lawsuit at any point. There
gone.
were court orders that led to
He's
multiple
probably on
cases,
drugs at that time,
civil
too.
and criminal. Once again, there has never been a lawsuit. A lot of these things are public records and always have been. It was never about money. He lied to the public, and some morons ate it up despite court cases being public records. The justice courts in multiple jurisdictions deemed it necessary to provide restraining orders to protect the victims and witnesses and those around him. The burden of proof is on the prosecution, and it was met in full. The courts issued multiple permanent restraining orders for many of his victims as he was vicious, unhinged, and violent, going out of his way to hurt not just his victims, but those who who are close to him, all just to inflict maximum damage on everyone he's hurt. Tumad has been caught destroying evidence, sending death threats to witnesses, and fabricating stuff to brainwash his audience. The judge shut down his lies during the hearing, and all of this is public records. Just a reminder that this guy got caught hiding in the court's cafeteria when he realized he would have to see one of his victims in person again. This is the same guy who was dancing on the grave of a murdered child just a year ago. This is the same guy who secretly recorded multiple videos of him committing crimes, including SA and pointing a gun at one of his victims. He shared those videos with friends, but was mortified to find out the court had gotten a hold of them. This is public records once again. I was told the arrest warrant was supposed to go just before the final overdose. There are multiple reasons why it took so long. The main reason being that the investigation involved many jurisdictions in multiple states, and the amount of everything they had to go through has been insane. Outside of direct messages, phone calls, and live streams, he tweeted over 17,200 times since August alone. Also, some people interfered with the investigation, and I'm waiting on confirmation whose names I can bring up today. All while a lot of information is public or will soon be made public by the authorities. Please don't bring up the victims' names and don't wish ill will on Tumad's family. Jamesky claims that Tumad illegally owned firearms. However, he claimed on my live stream that he didn't own any.
So you don't own any real guns. That's what I was gonna say, because you're a Canadian citizen.
I mean,
You're
he
not
definitely
here in
had some.
California, right? So like, what was the?
Yeah, I don't own any guns.
So when he's sober, he denies things to
Very
protect
heavy
himself, and when
This
he's
13-year-old in the mental
on
hospital was
drugs,
determined
he
to be a
just
girl named Misty, who Tumad
spouts
apparently
truth
had
because he
some
doesn't
level
care
of
anymore.
contact
Yeah.
with. Jamesky said that he
That's the
continued to
cycle.
prey on the vulnerable even after the police got involved, including a 13-year-old in a mental hospital. If you look at her posts and his posts, you can see that the two clearly interacted publicly. Tumad had reposted a video from her account of this apparent mental institution, and he also posted a tweet of her outfit. Now, this is definitely weird and something to be concerned about. A 23-year-old being online friends with a 13-year-old is odd. But as for any inappropriate contact, there was none at the time, and she herself denied it when the accusations initially came out. Another person who spoke about this drama was just a Minx. Minx quote tweeted James and called his tweet insane, while clarifying she supported the lawsuit and investigations into Tumad. James then responded accusing Minx of interfering with the investigations and providing confidential information to Medea. He says Minx knew there was never a lawsuit and that she switched sides constantly. He then uploads 2 clips of Minx talking about Medea.
I think he's just trying to cope because he has none left to live for, which I understand because he has none. Yeah, I hope he gets help too. And by help, I mean I hope he learns how to tie a noose in a video game.
The second clip shows her revealing
Well,
publicly
you got your
that he
wish,
used her phone
chick.
calls to track him. Then
Wonder
Medea
how you feel
calls her
now.
on stream confirming that he's listening.
Well, answering his calls, this dumbass doesn't realize when I answer them, I can track his location. Not me personally, sorry. The police can and see where it came from. If I don't answer it, I can't. And that's what they advised me to do. They said don't talk to him, just answer it, and then
Yeah, you have to
he
keep
just
him on the
shows
phone for X
call
amount
and
of
they
time.
can track where he goes to right now. Oh look, he's calling again.
Yeah, you have to keep him on the phone long enough for them to trace the call. Oh, damn.
Minx
Recall,
claimed the
that's
only way
terrible.
she could have interfered is by the report she made to the LAPD of him stalking and threatening her or mentioning other cases. James posted a clip of her doing this, which she disputes unsuccessfully. These two were really going at it, and it's clear behind the scenes there have been a lot going on. Minx posted some images from the lawsuit and alluded to releasing the lawyer's name. The most notable screenshot posted by James, meanwhile, are pages
Yeah,
of
she
Tumad
should
posting
not
various
release the
guns,
lawyer's name.
of
That
which
would
many
not end
include
well for her.
verifiably fake guns, as I said before.
what
If
this
he did
is.
own any real guns, there was no evidence based on these tweets. Following this, a few girls also came forward, claiming they had been harassed by Tumad with incessant messages, much in the same way he did to Goldie Bell. Keep in mind,
Wonder
he
if the
didn't know
cops
these
will
girls
release
at
what they
all,
found
just
in his
did this
house
at
after he
random.
died.
These statements left a lot of room for
Wonder if there's a
speculation.
reason why they
Where was the
could've
proof of Ophelia? Where was the proof that
Not
this
sure
bullet
on that.
hole in the window was from
I mean, if they had
Tumad?
a
Where was the
search
proof
warrant, I
of the
guess they
SWAT
already
team
could,
arriving,
but
apart from
does
this
the
blurry
search warrant
image? The
become
detractors
null
of
and
James
void
saw him
now that
dancing
he's
on the
dead?
grave of a dead man, skirting around a defamation
questions,
lawsuit
a lot of
because, well, you cannot defame someone who is dead. Others saw Tumad's prior behavior and instantly believed these claims. It would be weeks before James posted his follow-up evidence, but it did eventually come, in the form of a 52-page document. The document opens by painting Tumad as a narcissistic crazy person, one who didn't even trust his own intentions and thought he may commit a violent crime against Jamesky
Yeah, I can
or
see that.
against someone else.
That I'm still like madly infatuated with this fucking
Why?
because it's like I touched her that one time and then she sued me, and that's why I must get my ultimate revenge.
Ultimate revenge.
Yeah, a lot of people like to scare themselves into thinking I'm like a harmless person. I could be, right? But it's worthwhile. Do your due diligence to make sure that doesn't happen. But I think if I go into schizo mode for real, what's more likely is I'm gonna do a mixed skillet or like getting a bunch of crimes before I go and commit murder.
I try to avoid that.
I definitely try to avoid that.
Oh, it's the barge.
100%.
For the unaware, McSkillet drove his car over the speed limit against traffic and killed 2 people in 2018.
Yeah, he played chicken on the wrong side of the road.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this. Are you stupid? No, I mean, I don't mean this. What do you mean? Come on! I understand that you're in the end game of life when you've just begun, and you don't have any anger towards anyone ever. But like, you have to understand, I'm not fucking married like you.
I think this is probably the most fair allegation that
Why is
James
why
makes,
is like
and is just an
I
extension
don't
of what we
understand. I
already
don't understand the
knew. Two
incel
was
obsession
clearly
with
a
women
deeply
thing.
mentally
Like
ill person, and from these clips, I don't think you can
marriage
claim
isn't
all
the
of them
end
are
game
jokes.
of life.
The
Like
guy
there's so much more to
definitely
life
was
than
out
just
of his mind.
having a
The rest of the
person there
document
with
is full
you.
of a lot of claims.
I mean, that
13-year-old in the
helps,
mental
but
hospital named
there's so
Misty
much
was
other
never
things you can
mentioned.
focus
He does
on,
claim
and
that
that'll
his public
happen when
knowledge,
it's
Tumed had expressed
it's time for
predatory
it to
behavior,
happen.
and shows
I
that
find
through
that
a
when
few
you
different
stop
tweets.
chasing
And while these
after it,
messages do look
it'll
horrible,
find
it's my
you.
belief that in
That's
these contexts, Tumed was
usually
making
the
some
way
very
it
crude
works.
jokes. There's
That
no
or you
proof
drop
in
your
this document
standards
or
and,
elsewhere
you
that
know,
Tumed had
your
any
options open
inappropriate
up.
contact with a
But
minor, and we've never
Jesus.
seen any evidence
Like
of
the
such.
obsession
However,
with it,
James
though.
claims that he's been working with multiple victims of Medea for months on a criminal investigation, people he intends to keep anonymous to protect their privacy. This would be separate from the civil case with Goldie Bell, and in his words, the government was already preparing everything necessary for the prosecution. The criminal investigation had nothing to do with the civil case, and criminal contempt related to violating the civil order. What the government knew, or even what this is about, is not explained in detail at this moment in the doc. What is talked about is details from the civil trial. James claims that at one point, Tumed read a statement written by ChatGPT, which was then quickly shut down by the judge. He even has a court transcript for this. He goes back to talking about Goldie Bell at this point, and the various clips of Tumed saying, "I'll do it
Your
again,"
court
as well
statement
as the
was a
moments from my stream in which
ChatGPT.
he admitted to plying Goldie Bell with drugs
Okay.
to make her more susceptible to his advances.
Hey, Tumed, quick question. When you tried to give weed, was it to sort of ease her into finally giving you coochie? That's for 5 from Pull Butt.
I think so. Yeah, I feel like that's obvious though, right? Like I don't usually, I've never done that before. But that's kind of why you do drugs. Like I remember when I was like 14, I was like, a girl rejected me and I was like, I should smoke weed. I fucking did it. I'd do it again.
You know, bro, but you know you can't, bro. They're gonna use this in court.
I can. I know they can use it. Y'all.
He doesn't
I'm
care.
sorry. Okay, my bad, dog. Well, I'm paying my lawyer top dollar to explain it to them. That's just humor.
Ultimately, what this part of the document does well, in terms of things that can be proven, is make Tumed look unhinged. It shows that in his final days, he was so drugged out he didn't even trust himself to not do something horrible. That, in and of itself, makes Tumed basically impossible to defend, which is why I'm not going to do that. But as for the
Yeah,
multiple other
that'd be
victims
smart.
James claims exist, they are nowhere to be found. On page 22, he shows a DM of someone, who knows who, messaging another person, who knows who, about Tumed, where they say they matched on Tinder. The other person says they matched on Hinge. What this means or proves, I do not know. All it shows is that someone claimed they matched with Tumed on a dating app. James also claims Tumed went as far as to meet multiple of these girls in person. It includes a blurred out video of Tumed supposedly meeting some girl.
I mean, yeah, he probably did.
I get bitches. See?
Yeah.
Even if I'm to take both of these extremely out of context materials
Just the
seriously,
obsession with
all I can
women
deduce
just
is that
always
Tumed
blows my
met a
mind.
girl
I didn't
on a
even
dating
understand
app
that when I
and
was a
met her in real
teenager.
life. This is the most proof we get, by the way, apart from some gross tweets that Tumed made. To make
didn't really
extremely
worry
strong
about it.
public accusations about pedophilia and say there will be more details and then never reveal any of those details beyond a few screenshots that could be chalked up to jokes is very irresponsible. I understand James Key claims that there is evidence he cannot reveal because the victims don't want to be identified, but you can
Yeah.
always censor names, much like he did for Goldie Bell. If he
Yeah,
censored
you
it
can
for her,
redact
why not
information.
censor it for them? Well, this leaves us with a few
It's a good
possibilities.
point.
The first is that these victims are real. Tumed is guilty of all of this, and they refuse to let James Key publicize any proof, even with the addition of censoring their names. The second option is that James Key preemptively tweeted about these allegations, believing they would want to go public, and they do not, putting him in a difficult position. The third option is that James believes Tumed to be a creep based off of these screenshots, but has no actual proof beyond that. The fourth option is that James is intentionally lying. Whichever of these possibilities it is, making
Hey, there's really no
claiming
point
that
in
Tumed is
lying
the
after
worst
he's
thing you
dead,
could
though.
possibly be after his death, and then never revealing details is retarded, and should make you question what his motivations are and what happened behind the scenes.
I mean, I don't
James
understand what the
claims there's an
motivation would be
investigation that
after he's
happened behind
dead.
the scenes, which is why he's recorded
To
calls
post-
to
to
the
post
LAPD. But if
lies.
that investigation was actually
Not saying
underway
he's
in a
not,
serious
but
manner,
I just- I
James
don't
doesn't
understand
prove
what
it,
the
and he probably never
point
will.
would be other
James
than to
also
torture
claimed publicly
Tud's
that he
family,
saved
maybe?
Tud's life and prevented a mass tragedy.
That would
I
be
have
kinda
no
shitty.
proof of this.
By kind of, I mean very.
Things we know about. Yes. Is he a pedophile who groomed people and sexually assaulted multiple people?
Right.
I honestly think James Key thinks this, and I don't know that he's lying, but I don't have evidence of it either.
Right, yeah, like specifically, obviously, like, okay, we're pretty much accepting now, like, the pedophilia thing, like, he's not providing proof for, and he's still kind of claiming it's a thing, right? But
He's saying because the victims don't want their identities public, he can't release it.
Right,
But,
yeah.
I mean, he can. He
I
can
don't know
redact
James Key, so
information.
am I to trust that? I don't really know.
What I'm more interested in is gaining context into the scenarios where he claims that he saved Tumad's life, right? Or prevented tragedy, right?
He could be
Like,
doing
what-
it for
what is the
clout and
context of
attention,
that,
I
right?
guess, but that's still shitty because you're
they're saying
torturing
they-
Tumad's
he's saying he
parents in the
prevented a mass
process here,
shooting
which
4
is
times, basically, right?
Right, but he's
Which
also
is
saying
bad.
that he
That's bad.
intervened to save Tumad's life in the past, which is confusing to me because it's like, what does that mean? You just called the cops on him and then they went to do a wellness check? Like, what is that?
In this document, James
Maybe.
accuses the LAPD of corruption.
I don't know if I would
and
call that
incompetence.
saving
On
his
page
life,
33,
but
he says
yeah,
that
that might be
Southern
what he means by
California
that.
police in general are notorious for their misconduct and not doing anything in their power until it's too late. He says that if you check the Wikipedia article for the LAPD alone, the section about their corruption and misconduct is half of the entire article. However, throughout this, he fails to show even one instance of police incompetence, never mind corruption. He claims that when Tumad violated his restraining order, they refused to act unless the court told them to.
We're not gonna go over there and break his door down and take the guns. It's gonna be interesting court.
But this is actually what the police are supposed to do. It's called obtaining a warrant. A
Yeah.
warrant is signed by a
They-
judge
they-
and is basically a permission
they
slip
have to
for
go
them
through the proper
inside
channels.
someone's
You can't
home.
just
The
fucking
police
show
cannot
up.
indiscriminately
There's a
bust down
process.
someone's door unless they
Yeah.
believe there's an imminent threat to someone's well-being or life behind that door. For them to bust
Yeah,
down
like there
someone's
has to
door just
be
because James said
extreme
so would be
probable
actual
cause.
incompetence and corruption, it would probably result in some kind of
That's why they
suspension
can
for
bust in
officers
and
involved.
swat you
Frankly,
if
there was
someone's
enough
like,
evidence
he's
to
got
arrest,
hostages,
he'd be
he's
in
got,
jail if he
there's a
wasn't
bomb.
dead.
Yeah,
On page
like
3,
they have
James
to do
calls
something
Tumad a criminal,
extreme. It
actually
has to be
guilty of
extreme.
committing a Class C
They
felony,
have
to
to
be
have
precise.
rock
Not
solid
sure
reason
why,
to do
because
so.
Tumad has never been charged with a felony and is not a felon. Unless James means he committed a felonious crime and thus should be a felon, in which case he should be far more specific with what he means here. As for what that crime may
Waiting
be,
for the
it's never
train
proven.
because
But
I have a
James
mission
claims
for
this
the
separate
train.
criminal case was just about to close in. We already knew Tumad was going to be arrested. The government was preparing everything necessary. The criminal investigation had nothing to do with a civil case. This is a ridiculous thing for me to believe. I'm supposed to believe James knew he was going to be arrested? How? Did the police
fuck,
personally
gas is
inform him
coming.
of every step of the investigation? Is he a detective? The amount of knowledge he supposedly has is pretty absurd. He claims Tumad had illegal firearms and the police were investigating it. On page 36, he said, "I'll make it very clear for the last time, the investigation into his possession of illegal firearms was conducted by professionals in real life, not Twitter detectives. The existence of real
Twitter
firearms had been
detectives.
proven many times, and authorities were just trying to figure out where they came from. Tumad tried to dispose of those firearms,
I
and it made the
believe that he
investigation
had firearms.
significantly more complicated as a result." Okay, so I'll make this clear.
He definitely
very
had the
clear.
means
If the
and the
police had
motivation to
proved
get them,
Tumad
so why
not
wouldn't
only
he have them?
illegally owned firearms on
Plus,
U.S.
he
soil,
made
but was also
videos
doing it
with
despite the
firearms
restraining
that
order,
he claimed
and
were
was trying to
airsoft,
dispose of them,
but they
he
sounded
would have
pretty
been
fucking
formally
real to me
charged
when
and
he fired
arrested.
them.
Full stop.
He should have
There
never
was
fired
no
them in the
reason for
videos.
any alternative. But James has
Like,
an explanation for
that
this
need
too.
to show
You see,
off
the cops
it
were actually
would have
trying
been
to
his
catch
downfall
whoever
anyway.
sold it to him first, and then take the dangerous schizophrenic man's
Yeah.
guns. On page 37, he writes, "Imagine
Yeah,
how complicated
they always
it
go
is
after
when
the
end goal
supplier,
from the
or
law's
try to.
perspective is to destroy the supply and not the customer, because you will only solve one problem and not be the source of many." I
Yeah.
think it goes without saying that it's obvious that if there's somebody out there who can supply
That's the
firearms to
process.
psychopaths like Tumad without actually being noticed by authorities, this is a huge source of problems. That's why the investigation into Tumad's firearms was so extensive, and the main reason why nobody was allowed to talk about it. Jamesky's claiming here that the police are not
That
catching
checks out.
Tumad for having illegal firearms so they can wait to catch the bigger
Love or
fish.
hate the
This
police,
is an insane
that doesn't sound like an
allegation, and
excuse
that's
to me. That
actually
sounds-
clear police
sounds pretty
misconduct
real.
if true. Unless the FBI is investigating Tumad and he's a member of an organized crime family, it is super illegal for the cops to not take those guns, especially if they believe he's a dangerous person. Having guns is a violation of
do
STRO,
also
and
believe
if
they were
they're illegal
probably
guns,
working with
then
the
that's
FBI.
also illegal. The cops would not
Considering
wait. This is not the
Tumad's
FBI.
amount of
They're not
clout, his
investigating
internet
the
fame,
mafia.
and the
once
fact that
again,
the
how would
investigation
James
would
know
have
this?
spanned
Does he
multiple
personally
states
know the chief
anyway.
of police?
At that
Is he a
point, it's
detective?
easier
Is
to
he
get
being
the feds
included with their
involved than
every
to try to
move?
go from
It's
state to
possible
state
Tumad
working with
possessed
all those
real guns,
individual
but if the
agencies.
police had proof he had illegally obtained weapons, he'd have been in jail and caught a charge, full stop. But James claims he spent 6 figures on an investigation to the point where he had to sell his car to pay for it. But you don't pay the police to investigate someone. They do that with taxpayer dollars. So who did this? Who are these real-life professionals, not Twitter detectives that James is referencing? Well, the
Bounty
only thing that would make
hunters,
sense here is that James hired a private investigator and
private
paid them to
investigator.
investigate Tumad personally. But apparently that PI couldn't find enough for the cops to arrest the guy at any point in time. If the police have
It's
reason
way
to
too
believe a
far away to
schizophrenic, retarded Canadian
throw
person
nades
with
at
illegal
beside
firearms arms, they will arrest them and then figure out where they're from, not the other way around. One of the initial claims that James made on Twitter was that Tumad had put a bullet hole through his office window. Well, a YouTuber named
Nice
Henry
shooting,
Resilient
Tex.
was actually able to obtain a copy of the lawsuit James
Good job,
was
man.
too mad, and in it we get a bit more explanation of what this is about.
We found a bullet hole in office room of my house in Los Angeles.
I gotta get on that train.
Witnessed a full SWAT team raid a house across of where I reside and had my ex-roommate's family address used for false swatting attempt. Neither I or my roommates feel ourselves safe anywhere we go, and especially at our home.
It seems that in reality what happened was that James found a bullet hole in his window and assumed it was from Too Mad. I mean, the guy lives in Los Angeles. Depending on where you live, it's not entirely unlikely that bullets are whizzing around. The same applies for James.
Could have been an
claim he
old
was
bullet
swatted
hole.
by
Could have
Too
been,
Mad.
yeah.
The funny thing
Could
is,
have been a
James
number of
didn't
things.
even get
Shit.
swatted. The house across from him did. James just saw the SWAT team and assumed that Too Mad called them there, but got the address wrong. Additionally, if there was proof he
Dude.
swatted anyone or shot Jamesky's window,
If you're
it would
swatted,
be a
you know
criminal
it. Like,
investigation,
that's
not a
shitty.
civil
He
suit
knew what
like
he was
James
doing.
filed.
I refuse
Swatting
to
is an
believe that
offense
you
punishable by major jail
accidentally
time,
thought
as
you were
is
swatting. Yeah,
shooting
I don't
someone's
buy that
window
for a
in an
second.
attempt to kill them. If the police or anyone had proved Too Mad did either of these things, he would have been in jail long before his death.
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been a waiting game. We don't actually even have
This
proof
guy's
that
credibility
swatting
just went
happened.
down a notch
Police
with me.
actually could have been there for any reason. But
Yeah.
James carefully worded his public tweets about this so as to make it as extreme as possible, to make everyone think that Too Mad personally swatted him. So what happened at TwitchCon? Multiple of James's friends came out and said they could
Yeah.
confirm that James
Knocked
was in
your credibility
serious
down a
danger
notch
because of something
there,
Too Mad
James
did
Ski.
or said. On page 8, James writes, during TwitchCon Las Vegas, Too Mad made ominous threats towards me and the public. To my knowledge, he didn't explicitly make a statement that he planned to shoot up the convention center, and I have no idea where this rumor originates. However, he did make numerous concerning threats, some of which directly referenced me and other people he's held a deadly grudge against. The convention center and the public were aware of his threats before I had a chance to speak to any first responders.
It's not
When the
technically
threats
illegal to
began, I
make
was told
threats,
urgently to
depending
talk to
on
people at
severity
Central
of
Station,
threat.
where they
And,
acknowledged that the
yeah,
sheriff
I mean,
and
there's
convention were
factors. You
already
can't just
aware of the
threaten anybody
situation.
anytime.
According
But
to the investigation, Too Mad was actively looking for
you've
me
got to do something
specifically,
pretty
but
egregious
implied
to
that others
actually
would
catch a
also be
charge for that.
affected using me as a reason. James even claims he was placed under police protection during the ordeal to hide from the threat.
Yeah, I don't know how much I
ASAP.
believe that now,
During that night,
considering the lie we
authorities
just
deemed it
caught him
necessary
in.
to shelter me at a remote location to ensure my
I
safety.
need to see proof
He
of
then
that.
shows a message from him at the police station. Apparently, he was there at 5:41, and then he was still there 40 minutes later, and then he left at 6:30. How do I know he was at the police station during this time when he was talking to the cops? Well, he filed a police report at 6 o'clock, and the address for the report is the police station. There's no detail here apart from the fact
I don't know
James
if that
claims some threats
means-
were made, and that's literally it
I
in
don't
the
know
police
if that
report.
means
Now,
that
James does
you're
have some
actually at
unhinged
the police
videos of
station,
Too
or
Mad
if
from this
you just
time.
you can just put any address on there though.
Mario! Kill? Who? You know. Burn them all.
And given how generally unhinged Too Mad is, it's not surprising James felt threatened by him in some way. But the main problem here is, once again, the lack of evidence around statements he makes about what happened here. James claims the investigation also determined he was in a state of psychosis during his last live stream before going to Las Vegas, and that he'd talked to himself. How would anyone know
Hell
he was
is this guy?
experiencing psychosis without the evaluation of a medical professional? How would this be declared literally anywhere if the guy was never arrested? And additionally, how would James know
How'd
that
he
the
go?
investigation determined this? Do the police typically inform civilians of every step of the prosecution so they know police business inside and out? Well, the answer is no. We also have
No,
no
they
indication James was held anywhere or under police protection. I think, in reality, he was just at the station. That is the remote location. If the police are willing to put someone under protection because they believe with a credible source or reason that their life is in danger, it's also typical that they will, you know, mobilize a police response to arrest the guy who is armed and dangerous. Do you think that happened? No, it did not. But according to James, Too Mad turned around before he got there in his secret car. I had to wait for a while to be updated on whether it was safe to return home, and I spent most of my time at a friend group's Airbnb the next day. The investigation found that Too Mad did not use his primary
Should've
legally
stayed where you
registered
were, kid.
Tesla with a real license plate to enter Nevada. The investigation was aware he had two nearly identical Teslas, one of which was bought via private sale and wasn't registered to his name, making it more challenging to track down Too Mad. However, I've been told that after Too Mad realized the level of police response to his actions, he decided to drive back home and make ominous paranoid posts with various threats at the end. So Too Mad had a separate identical Tesla he purchased illegally, which is also a crime. You can be fined or arrested for driving a car with a plate that isn't registered to you, and you can easily be pulled over for having your registration out of date. Never mind owning an unmarked car that doesn't exist in the system and isn't registered to you. Is this guy a double
damn it.
agent? Is Too Mad Jason Bourne? If there was proof of any of this, don't you think the dude would be in jail? And now that Too Mad is dead of a possible overdose, where is this extra car? Where are these extra guns? Now keep in mind, there is still a possibility this is real. Maybe he did have an extra secret unmarked car, and maybe he did own all these
Coming, buddy?
firearms firearms, but James didn't provide proof of any of it, and if he wants to make this claim, he needs to for the general public to believe it. Additionally, keep in mind every time James says the investigation, he's not referencing the police, usually anyway. It's probably his private investigator he hired. And this document gets even crazier as time goes on. One major claim by James was that Isabella and Two Mad were never actually dating. Now, I don't know if they were official at any point, but it's clear that at some point they did know each other and were hanging out regularly. She admitted to willingly going to his home before the alleged assault took place, so this doesn't really make sense. And according to James, she was never paid for sex. On page 44, he writes that the prostitution was also entirely made up by Two Mad in an attempt to discredit the victim in the public eye. The investigation fully debunked it, including the fake messages he posted on Twitter that his fans took as gospel at the time, which is brought up later again in this document. Now,
I mean, do you have ways
the
to prove that
messages
those
fake,
messages
and
are
Two Mad
fake?
is the master of faking messages, but this is never proven. It's not proven later in this document. Two Mad multiple times claimed his relationship with Goldie Bell began with him paying her for sex. He even posted these messages to corroborate this claim. Goldie Bell herself never even claimed Two Mad faked these messages in her own court case or on Twitter. I guess it's possible he fakes them, but I'm gonna need a little more than the guy who understands nothing about the criminal justice system to believe it. On page 35, he writes that the court instructed the police they were supposed to arrest Two Mad. The authorities always argued it was a different police department's job. This is the definition of weaponized ignorance and incompetence. The instances provided throughout this document are just a few examples. There were countless instances that were way worse. Alright, so I'm gonna have to do a little work to dissect what Jamesky is saying here, but here's what this means. As per Two Mad's restraining order, he was not supposed to contact Isabella or harass her online. Despite that, he tweeted about her multiple times, and as a result, that can be seen as a violation of the temporary restraining order.
Maybe. Tweeting about someone or at someone are two different things.
He should be held in
I mean, you'd have an argument there.
All of this is
might not be a very solid one.
Also publicly documented is the strain between Two Mad and his lawyer. Towards the end of the court proceedings, Two Mad's relationship with his lawyer was strained. It's not clear why exactly, and ultimately it's held under attorney-client privilege, but we could guess Two Mad wasn't paying him properly towards the end. Whatever the case, in court his lawyer argued Two Mad may not even be mentally competent to stand trial, therefore serving him this contempt
big
order
claim.
is an issue because he may not even understand what's going on. He asked for a continuance in the case to make preparations before Two Mad is formally charged with the contempt order.
I'm saying to the court that I don't believe that he has the capacity to understand the nature of the proceedings today and cannot proceed on his behalf. This is covering his ass. This is CYA stuff. I don't understand why Two Mad would
the judge is trying to help him.
serve, but also Two Mad cannot proceed in pro per to go forward with the arraignment. So Two Mad needs a lawyer for the contempt hearing because it's criminal.
Now keep in mind here, just because Two Mad was served does not mean he is convicted. He was served the contempt order, but the judge had not ruled on it yet. If he was convicted, it's possible he would actually get some jail time. Now at that later date, Two Mad's lawyer spoke to Goldie Bell's lawyer, and
Wonder
they
if
actually
EOD
mutually decided to
were,
drop the contempt order, meaning he would not be arrested.
Unalived himself
issued, so he
because
didn't
maybe
need to
he
be
knew he
arrested.
was
Two
about
Mad's
to go to
lawyer then
jail.
stopped
Maybe he saw the
representing him at the end of the
walls
case
closing in
until
on
he
him.
represents himself.
Maybe the
In court,
situation
at
was
the
worse
final
than
moments of the
he was
case,
letting
Goldie
on.
Bell states in court that she has continued to be harassed by Two Mad and fears for her life because
But
she
the fact
believes
that
he
there's
owns
not
her
like a
firearms.
statement from
She
him
says
or
she was
video
disappointed.
or
Two
something
Mad
for
denies this, saying
attention
he has not directly texted
before
Goldie
he
Bell
goes
since
out,
2022 and has
like
noted
this is my
firearms
final
being
goodbye.
her.
Because that seems like if he
Also says
was
doesn't own any firearms.
offing himself
Goldie
on
Bell's lawyer
purpose,
rebuttals saying that
he would,
does, submitting the
you
video
know,
from the front door,
he'd do something to have a last
gun, and
last
video
laugh
of
on
Two
the
Mad on his
internet. That
balcony
seems like the
where
kind of thing he
supposedly
would
fires
do.
a
The
gun
fact
at
that
his
that doesn't
skater.
exist
Two Mad
means I
claims this
think it was
video fake
accidental.
and is edited for YouTube.
He
Goldie Bell's
didn't
lawyer
plan
has no
to
evidence
OD,
the
he just
contrary,
took too
and as a
much and it
result, he doesn't
happened.
even argue. So Two Mad is not arrested, and instead, the restraining order that Goldie Bell requested at the beginning of the case is basically upgraded to a restraining order for a period of 3 years for the harassment, not for any violence or threat
standard
of violence. And once again, Two Mad is never ordered
It's
to be
not hard
arrested.
to get
Jamesky's problem
those
here is that the court
upgraded or
didn't arrest
extended
Two
if
Mad,
you have
but a
just
warrant
even the
was never
slightest
issued.
reason.
The court case was concluded without any need for him to be arrested. Jamesky paid 6 figures and went into debt to get this guy behind bars and still couldn't do it. What does that tell you? Well, in the eyes of the law, Two Mad is innocent of owning a gun or making attempts on anyone's life. If there was evidence to convict, he'd be arrested and charged. Ultimately, I'm not that concerned with going after Jamesky. If he lied, then he'll get his in due time, but this document is bad and ultimately leaves more questions than answers. If you want my personal opinion, James is a very paranoid person who believes that a lot is happening when it just is not. On page 33,
He's
James
reading
shows a
deeper
money
into
spread of
shit
police
than it
reports.
should.
A police report, by
And
the way,
probably
just
a
means
little little hint of
claimed
clout
the crime was
chasing in it,
committed
too.
and told a police officer, it's not proof of an active investigation or proof of someone being charged with a crime by the government. Now, for my video, I actually had someone call up a few police departments. Here's a quote of what the Culver City PD said about the report filed to them. On June 26, 2023, Isabella and James Prime came to the apartment lobby to report criminal threats made by Isabella's previous intimate partner. She was saying that she met him in November 2021. She said they were together for a month to the police. Claims he had possibly sexually assaulted her, came in to report threats from messages he had sent on social media. Took it as a courtesy
So a lot
for
of
Inglewood
reports,
PD.
but
No
not a lot of
follow-up.
solid
For the
stuff to
record,
back
every police
most
station
of
we
them
were
up,
able to
so.
contact said basically the same thing. In
Yeah,
my
it's a
opinion, at the
weird
end of
one to
this,
try to
there are
unravel here.
three distinct possibilities. One is that James Key is knowingly
See what Tom
lying,
comes with.
and two is that James Key has no understanding of the criminal justice system or chain of evidence or anything.
I wouldn't say
And
there's a distinct possibility.
Somehow, some way, everything in this document is true, and he just refuses to post evidence of all of it. Also, the California police are the worst government body in the world, and everyone involved needs
I
to
don't
be
think it's three
Either
different
way, based on this
possibilities. I think
document,
it's
his
probably
word
a
is
combination of
basically
a few
nothing.
of them.
You can believe James wrote this all and conducted his $100,000 investigation.
I don't think he
and
has
used his
evidence
car
he's not
for the right
posting.
reasons.
He
You
would
can believe
definitely
it's because
post it.
he's
But
been
the other
obsessed
parts
with
may
Two-Mad
be
for years.
a little
I don't
bit of
really
column
care.
A, a little
What
bit of
I do
column B
know is
kind
that
of
he
thing.
made some extremely strong accusations off the bat as soon as he found out that someone died, and then he didn't prove any of them. The final update on all of this is that Misty, the 13-year-old, also recently sent out a message, once again saying she was never groomed by Two-Mad in any way.
I'll believe that. He didn't strike me as that kind of guy. I mean, he was a lot of things, but not necessarily that.
One of the things that stuck out to me the most from my interview with Two-Mad was when he told Gokanaru and I that he had no one helping him through the most trying time of his life. Two-Mad began his YouTube career as a loner. Alone in his bedroom, he had no friends, and could only fathom sinking his time into playing Overwatch.
And that's how
He
it
died
ended.
alone in his apartment with no friends to help him, high on
Playing
ketamine,
Overwatch.
playing Overwatch. Two-Mad is not innocent.
Ended
We don't have proof of
how
him
it
being
began.
a rapist or file, and this is something I hope Jamesky can account for in due time. But what we do know is that he became absolutely obsessed with this girl. He begged her for attention. He slammed her with incoherent memes and died.
Yeah, that incel thing, man.
And he's the only path forward for her. He definitely pressured her into sex repeatedly, and whatever you want to call the interactions of that night, what he personally described to me is already pretty over the line. And he tried to do the same to like 20 other girls. He obsessed over them. He sent them random messages, and I know if they agreed, he would have met up with them probably high on ketamine, and who knows what would have happened there. Thankfully, they were smart enough to not play into his behavior. He was also a very deeply lonely person. No matter what, he couldn't seem to break down the barrier of flesh and air.
It's
between
this
him and other
obsession
people.
with
He
women,
did
man.
try
He had
to,
so
but
much
deeply
else
hurt
going
many
on.
of
He
them
could
in
have
ways
focused on, and the
described as
women would have just.
sociopathic. His empathy for others seemed to
You
be
just
at an
chill
all-time
out. The
low,
women will
and
just
his
come to
regard for
you
himself
after
was
time. Like,
only in that he could
focus
continue
on your
behaving like a
fitness, focus on your
schizophrenic
career,
online.
focus
He
on all
tried
these
to
other
cope with his
things.
reality with
and
substances,
the women
which
will follow.
actually only pushed
You
him
don't
further
have to
from
chase
people
them,
and into a
especially
hole
when
he
you've
couldn't
reached the
climb out
level
of.
of
No
fame
one's
that he
advice
had.
impacted him
And he wasn't
whatsoever
even
in his
that
final
famous.
days.
Like, it
Nobody
doesn't
was able to
take
get
as
through
much
to
as
him.
most
He
guys
just
think it
wanted to
does.
rot. In his
It
final
just
months,
boggles my
Two-Mad
mind
identified
how
a
many
lot
like
with
young
Mike
guys
Ivan,
become
a
incels and fall into this
sociopathic
trap.
genius who was always 23 steps ahead of everyone else, acting to save the world. But ultimately, the problem with Light was his ego and cowardice.
And it's not even
He
about
didn't write the
looks.
names
Like,
of criminals in the
you
death
could
note to
be
do the
like
right thing. He did
the
it because
buffest
he
dude or
thought
the
he was
fattest
better
dude on
than
the
everyone
planet.
else. It clouded his judgment.
You got a
and it
good
led him to do
personality
things
and a
that
lot
no one
going
could
on.
forgive. And no matter what he
And they
did,
can see,
Light was
like the
always
girl,
alone.
if you
He
want
had
an actual
no
girlfriend,
genuine
the girl
emotional
has to be
connection
able
with
to
anyone.
see a future with you. Hot guys can get girls short term, sure, but actual like girlfriends, all you have, like, looks aren't as important as most guys think they are. Like, all that matters is that the girl can see
guess it
a
makes
future
sense
with
why
you,
Two-Mad
and that you've
resonated
got
with his
something to
story so
offer
much,
beyond
even if
those
at the time
looks.
he
Since
couldn't realize
looks
how
aren't
that
your
would
strong
happen.
suit.
I think
You got
Two-Mad,
money, you got a
the
job,
ASD,
you got a sense of
whatever you wanna
humor, you got a
call him,
personality.
should be
You give
remembered.
them
You
certain
can't deny his
feelings. They feel
influence.
good when
He
they're
was a
with
very
you. You
complicated
can,
person, and ultimately
you
his
know,
shitty
they can
behavior,
feel comfortable
inability to
around you
cope
in a
with
way
the
they
world
can't
around
around
him,
other.
and
There's
drug
there's
addiction
there's a
led to his
lot of ways to
untimely
get your
death
foot in the
at the
door
age of
other than
23 years
just
old.
get
For
buff,
those
get
he
money.
hurt, they have a right to be thankful
Like,
you
it
weren't
just, it
hurting
shocks me
anymore.
how many
For those who
guys
liked him
fall
as a
into this
person or
trap,
enjoyed his
man.
content,
Especially
they
young
have
guys that
every
just
right
don't
to listen
understand
to.
this.
As for the moral
I
of the
learned that at
story,
an early age. That's why I never never
don't
really
know.
stressed over girls.
Don't do drugs or
and I
something.
never really had a problem finding one, or
Don't
rather,
be an asshole.
waiting for
Don't
one to find
isolate
me.
yourself from everyone in the world, because no matter how much you convince yourself that you're all you need, that will never be the case. You need other people around you to feel human.
Not always. I never did, but I'm a rare
Clearly,
breed. I'm fine on my
Clearly,
own.
Too Mad didn't feel that.
Or was for a long time.
I've been
And I got a
Turkey
wife,
Tom.
and
Thanks for watching. And until next time,
just
Good
as
night, girl.
content with her as I was also.
See you tomorrow.
Not saying I don't need her. I do need my life. I do need my kids. I need my life I have now, but I worked hard to build that. But I wasn't like lost
I'll see you in the
before I
next
had
episode.
that.
Too Mad out.
There is going to be no next episode. Too Mad. Doing the greatest hits of Too Mad. I mean, yeah, he was a flabby guy, but honestly wasn't. I've seen guys who look worse than him who didn't have problems getting drugs. Like, and he had a decent personality. The drugs are like, if he could have avoided those and focused on something else, if he could have focused that energy on something other than drugs, he would have done fine. In all honesty, he would have done fine. He honestly would have done fine if he had just focused that energy somewhere other than moping about being, you know, if he'd have focused that energy on something other than his loneliness and drug use, he would have been fine. He wasn't the worst looking guy on the planet. Don't get me wrong, he's no spring chicken, but I've seen uglier guys than him who had personalities similar to him, and they just knew where to focus that energy and how to present themselves. That was all he lacked, was just that. And that's not like a social anxiety thing or even a mental disorder thing. It's just a lack of experience. He honestly just needed a good wingman. Like, that's all he needed to get his start. Just a good wingman to point him in the right direction and help him out. Give him a little guidance. That's all the fuck he really needed. It was just that someone who would stick around. But the problem is, he'd get around people, he'd start doing drugs, and he'd become an insufferable, you know, unpredictable person to be around. You know, being around him was a chore because of the unpredictable schizophrenic nature of him. But if you could somehow break that barrier down and help him get past that. Don't run from me. But if you could break down that barrier and help him get past that, he would have been fine. He just didn't. I mean, the truth is, they told the truth about him not having any friends. He had acquaintances. He never really had any real friends. If he had got some, if he'd just had that one good friend who was dedicated enough to help him out there. Fuck, man, that air shit so fast. Need a better scope on this sniper. Alright, I gotta get out of here. Really? Remember, stop touching that other stick. It messes with the camera. If I want the camera to stay behind the car, I cannot touch the right stick. Oops. Held the button too long. Call it in, and after this match, we'll take a break and, you know, maybe look up some more content, maybe see who's online, see if we can get some people in here to do some commentary. Let's go driving. Another car over there. I'm just trying to get my 500 meters. Leave me alone. That's the story of Two Mad. Truly tragic tale. I'd argue a cautionary one would be the best takeaway from that. If people can learn something from his death, then at least his life had meaning. Maybe not the meaning he intended, but still a lot to be learned there. Roop, roop, roop. Follow the river. In a sports car down by the river. I realize I'm making references you Zoomers won't get. Google it. Van down by the river. It's a reference. Google it. Woo! Gotcha, bitch. You get a better sniper rifle. I'll take that. Appreciate it. Oh. I can get boost with the B button too. Oh, sweet. I don't have to hit the... Okay, cool. Oh, shit. Ain't gonna lie, that was kind of dope. Oh yeah, an actual sniper rifle now. Sweet. And an actual car to use it on. Trying to one-shot the driver. Couldn't pull it off. Alright. Need another place to go because this is a terrible location. Oh my god, I got so many buffs right now. Ten players remain. There we go, more of them splashes. Okay. Let's fucking go! Back where I killed that guy. Done a full circle here. Is it double shoot? Is that what makes it legendary? Reload time's pretty good. It's not the player, that's the NPC. Fuck. Remember to quit doing that. It's this person. Fuck. Fucked it up. Come on, baby. Where you at? Where'd you go? Well, I'm gonna bail too then. Oh, really? It's like a magnet to the wall. That's unbelievable. Somebody else can have that. Camp for a minute while I check my Discord for teammates. Yep, we're camping. That's where this has gone. What this has turned into. A bounce. Yeah, it's going. Me and two other D-bags. Knock him out of the boost! Ah, fuck, I jumped into the gas. Damn it. Fucked myself. Ah, I hate that the little jizz juice doesn't give you back health, too. Fuck, I had some pretty clutch battles there, too. Yeah. Who's on? Alright. Let's see what else is on the docket for tonight. What's going on in the wonderful world of the internet today? Can't find anything stream worthy. Ow. Interviews are not the right way to hire people? That's a Jordan Peterson video. Okay, I'll check it out. Tell us, Jordan Peterson, why shouldn't we be interviewing employees? Sure, this is an old video, but I haven't seen it yet, so. It is new to me. There we go. Slot that right there.
People suffer unnecessarily. So let's go back to those people in the distribution. I say the bottom 30% of the distribution isn't going to be able to get a degree at the University of Toronto, unless they're capable of working to an insane level, and even then, likely not.
Why would they not be able to get a degree?
So let's say that you have
I don't know
a
how Canada's
ability
like
blind admission process.
financial aid system works.
It's random. So everybody's name is thrown into a hat, and if they get pulled out, they get to go.
That's how they admit people to college there?
You
Huh.
think that you're doing the people who are going to fail a service?
Wait.
Not. You know, now you could make a case that you are, because it's likely that there'll be a couple of individuals in the bottom part of the distribution who will make it through, partly because of measurement error, right, because you're not going to measure this perfectly, and partly because, well, people are...
Oh, I think he's given a hypothetical. Okay.
You never know exactly
It just kind of
what
dropped
any
us into
one
this.
of them is going to do, but you're going to torture a lot of them to death at the same time. You know, I've been struggling with this because I've developed tests that help employers decide who might be competent, more competent than who when they're hiring, and that's partly dependent on general cognitive ability.
You going to give us examples of some of these tests?
Based on the statistics, the relevant statistics. that
Seems
can
like these
improve
tests
the
would be a
probability that a given employer
interview-like
will
thing.
hire an above-average worker in a cognitively complex, for a cognitively complex job position, from 50-50 to 75-25 or 80-20. It's quite a lot, but it's not. Obviously, there's still a fair margin of error there, but you know, having half as many employees below average is definitely going to be of tremendous benefit to your company. And you might say, well, that's unfair because there's going to be measurement error too.
Yeah.
And that's not the question. The question is it more unfair than to do it any other way? Well, you can use interviews, but tall, good-looking, extroverted people tend to do much better on interviews than short, ugly, introverted people.
Okay, so what's the
Especially if they're a
alternative?
bit on the
Your
disagreeable
test?
side as well, because agreeable people also do better in interviews.
Like give them a standardized test?
Not only are they tremendously biased in all of those dimensions, they actually don't predict performance in the long
Yeah,
run.
but hold on. Are they biased though? I mean, aren't like, depending on the job, like, don't you want okay, like if you're an employer, don't you want your employee to be agreeable and easy to work with? Like, isn't that something you would want? Like, that doesn't make it unfair because their personality type makes them more hireable. It seems like that's the point, is to find the people who would be a good fit at your business. And if your business is public facing, like a retail job, being extroverted helps because you're spending all day interacting with the general public. You don't want, you know, you don't want the employees that your customers are going to have to face to be socially awkward and off-putting. It's bad for business. I mean, it sucks to be those people, but it's bad for business. Like, you don't want the first person, the first employee, or the first person or the last person to come in contact with a customer at your business, for a customer to come in contact with. Like, you know, you don't want your people greeter at Walmart or the cashier, for instance, to be weird and hard to talk to, you know, to be scary or off-putting. You don't want them to, because that person may never come back to the business after that. You don't want your customers leaving freaked out. So, yeah, those people tend to do better because those traits tend to be better for business. Like, Jordan Peterson's a smart guy, but he dumps his emotions into everything, which is so weird for a guy who's supposed to be a psychiatrist, right? Like, doesn't he have a degree in psychology? Like, aren't you supposed to be able to divorce your emotions from your opinions when you're analyzing people or analyzing situations? It's so weird that these are the conclusions that he comes to. Because, I mean, yeah, it sucks to be a person who is introverted and has a hard time dealing with people. It sucks to be that person because their job options are less, but that's probably due to the fact that there are less jobs that don't require you to interact with the public. And even then, you're still going to have to interact with your coworkers. Like, I'm sorry, interacting with people, it's part of life, especially if you want to, you know, enter the workforce. Unless you're going to work from home and do like maybe a text chat job, maybe they work better over text. Like, that's kind of the position you're in if you're one of those people. You're left with two choices. Either learn how to deal with people so you can enter the workforce and work with people, or find a job or develop a skill set that allows you to work without dealing with people. You know, enter text chat, do a text-based job where your only interaction with people is over email or over, chat, for instance. Maybe you've got a programming job and you're working remotely and you're doing everything through, a Google Doc and, Zoom meetings and things. And then the interactions maybe feel less real over video chat or voice chat. But to say that we need to change our entire hiring process because a group of people who have social anxiety or not good with people can work the same jobs as other people, well, that's not fair to those of us who spend our life learning those social interactions and developing that skill set so that we can get jobs where we work with people well. Like, that's not fair to the other group. But, okay, Jordan Peterson, what's your answer? What's the middle ground here?
Well, actually, that means in the States they're illegal, although lawyers haven't woken up to this fact yet, but you're mandated by law in the United States to use the most accurate, valid, and reliable current means of hiring available. And
where does it say that?
And neither are letters of recommendation, which are pretty...
Where does it say that? I hate that he constantly makes claims and doesn't, cite any sources to confirm them. I've had many jobs here in the States. I hate when people from other countries claim that they know our legal system too, and clearly it's like you've read something or misinterpreted something, or some things may look one way on paper in the States, but don't work that way in practice. I want to know. I want to know, what specifically is he referencing in the States where I live that says that interviews are illegal? That's not the best form of hiring people, therefore illegal. Where does it say a specific way you have to hire people? I mean, is he talking about discrimination laws? Because those don't say the best way you have to hire people. They just say the things you can't, they just give you certain metrics you can't disqualify people on. So that can't be it, all right? That can't be it. That can't be what he means. I'm gonna try to kill this guy before I turn the video back on. Yeah, he's airbending. He's getting out of there. Okay. Well, tell us, Jordan.
Much is bad. They're not so much biased, letters of recommendation. They're just useless because, except insofar as if you can't get anyone to write you a letter of recommendation at all, well, maybe that's an indication that you're not very socially skilled, or that you don't have a very good social network, or whatever.
Or maybe you're just bad at your job. Maybe you're a bad employee.
Indicator of isolation, you could derive some information out of letters of recommendation, but
he's making a lot of assumptions.
Future performance, they're just not valid at all. It's partly why I hate writing them. They're also illegal. At least they are in the U.S., even though people don't understand that yet. But I know the law, and I know the validity statistics. So,
can you cite the law? Because I don't think the law knows that they're illegal.
So then you might also ask, so the other
I've never heard that.
Methods are also biased.
I've never heard
unreliable. You could say, well, you could hire someone based on their academic history, but roughly that's an index of intelligence and conscientiousness anyways. It's just not a very good one.
No. How are you reading all of this so poorly? There's a lot of things that graduating from college tells you other than someone's intelligence. There's a lot of things graduating from any school tell you about someone's intelligence. Even if you go to the worst college, the fact that you went through that, it tells you that A, you're punctual, you show up to class on time, you've got good attendance, because without good attendance, you wouldn't have graduated. So it shows a level of dedication to something. It shows a level of hard work, your ability to focus and finish a task and see a project through to its end. It tells so much other than just, hey, he's smart because college. How do you have such basic takes with all your degrees? You've been through college. You have degrees that you would have had to work a long time on. How do you not know that process says a lot about you other than just you're smart? But okay, Jordan, you've got me curious now. Are letters of recommendation illegal in the U.S.? All right, let's find out. Okay, from Small Business, Better Business Bureau here. Although there are very few state or federal regulating letters... although there are very few state or federal laws regulating letters of recommendation, letter writers cannot mention discriminatory information in such letters. For example, most states prohibit letter writers from stating a candidate or employee's gender, race, or religion in their application. Yeah, so the letter itself is... He's just wrong here. And that's straight from a government website. The fuck are you talking about, Jordan? Legal. And then there's legal... There's fucking legal sites giving guidelines for letters of recommendation so that you don't accidentally write an illegal one with discriminatory stuff in it. There's templates. He's just wrong. He's just wrong. That's not at all true. How old is this video? 2 years old. I feel like the laws haven't changed in the last 2 years. He's just wrong. I don't know how he's so wrong about like the process of college, what college tells you, what school tells you about a person. There's a reason why when you go to get a job, it says X number of years of college or equivalent in experience, because college itself is an experience. It's more than just an education. You learn a lot there beyond just what's on the paper. Like, he has such a base level take. It sounds like he's preaching to a certain crowd.
Especially because there's tremendous variability between schools. So if you have a GPA of 4.0 from school X, and this
there are different standards when it comes to schools. That's why they're ranked.
To assume that those are comparable. So
they are comparable. There's a ranking system for schools to tell you which ones are prestigious and what aren't. Yeah.
That'll give you 50-50 in terms of your.
And your guess percentage could be more than 50-50.
Below average, but
there's a lot of factors that come into play to lower that. God, everything's so just like base level. This or that with him. There's no nuance to this stuff.
Let's assume that there are 10 people working, and an inappropriate selection method places an incompetent manager above them. So maybe the manager is less intelligent than the workers.
That's common. It happens.
Or maybe the manager is less creative than the workers are. Maybe
also common.
Less conscientious or whatever. It doesn't matter. Some dimension of competence.
They maybe became a manager because they were more agreeable, as Jordan would say.
Then one of the questions is, what exactly are you doing to the manager? Well, you're basically setting them up to fail, and a tremendous number of managers fail in the first 2 years of their promotion. It's well above 50%, and so that's
in
not
what
so good
business?
For them, but then you're also dooming the 10 people that they're supervising to a kind of horrible, perdition for the time it takes
maybe
to
not.
calculate that the manager is actually failing, and what that means generally is that the very highly qualified people in the worker pool will just leave, because why would they put up with that? So then you might think, well, is it unethical to select properly, or is it ethical to select randomly, or exactly how should you solve that problem? And the answer is, well, we do try to solve it because we use selection methods, but we usually use ones that aren't very accurate. It's funny, too, because I tried selling accurate selection tests to corporations for a very long period of time. And one of the things...
And let me guess, they didn't want them? Oh, imagine that.
That was mind-boggling to me, because the economic utility in hiring people who are competent...
I want to see one of his tests now.
High. It's absolutely mind-boggling, because the difference in productivity between people isn't normally distributed. It's Pareto distributed.
There could also be more to a particular job than just productivity, but okay.
Criteria so that you pick from the more productive end of
I think it's becoming obvious. I think it's becoming obvious to me that Jordan Peterson while intelligent and, got his degree and has a career, had a career in psychology. I think he lost his license for that after he went down the right-wing rabbit hole and got addicted to whatever drug he got addicted to. But it's clear to me that he knows a lot about the employee, but it doesn't sound to me like he's ever been an employer. So he's not understanding that if your employee is a highly productive asshole, but being around them is dragging down the productivity of 10 other people, then that one really productive dude doesn't outweigh the other 10 really productive people. Or there's other people quit when they get around him, and he's toxic to the workplace. You need to get rid of him, despite the fact that he's good at his job. So there's more to, an employee being a good employee other than just, oh, he's really productive. Oh, my test will find you the most productive people. Yeah, but if the most productive people have the shittiest personalities, I don't want them. I don't want them. Even if I'm not working, even if I'm not manager or boss of like a public facing job like a Walmart or a McDonald's, and even if I'm just running an office or a factory or some other job where it's closed off to the public, I don't want other employees around this person. Like, unless that really productive employee brings out the best in the people around him so that they also become really productive, and he's got a good work ethic and a good personality so that people want to be like him and follow in his footsteps. If he's the kind of guy who's really good at his job and really productive and works really hard, but it spends all his time talking shit about the company, talking shit about other employees, gossiping, all these other things, and no one wants to be around him, no one wants to talk to him, and he just brings the mood down and kills the productivity of everyone around him, then yeah, get rid of him. Being good at your job doesn't always mean you keep your job. It's just life, Jordan, but it's becoming clear to me that not only has Jordan never employed a person, but I'm starting to question whether or not he's worked a regular wage job, and he didn't just go school straight into his own psychiatry practice. Because if that was his, I should probably Google his background, but if that was his background and that's his trajectory in life, then that explains why he's so disconnected from the average employee, and why he's so mind-boggled that the average employer thinks his test is dog shit and doesn't want it. He can't sell it to him. Yeah, that would probably make sense. I'm disappointed a guy as smart as you hadn't figured this out yet.
Powerful economic benefits for your company, but at least when I was doing this to begin with, human resources people, who were usually the ones evaluating the tests, weren't necessarily the most competent people in the corporate
Oh yeah, it's not your test, it's their incompetence. There you go.
Very badly trained, and they believed that there were no differences between people that couldn't be eliminated with training, which is like, yeah, no, that's wrong. As anybody, if you have any sense at all and you think about it for 15 or 20 seconds, you know that's the case. I don't know what it was like in your school, but in the school I went to, which was way the hell up in northern Alberta in the middle of no man's land, there was at least...
Did you go to a shit school, Jordan? Self-report, buddy.
Higher, who were still functionally illiterate by the time they hit grade 10.
He went to a shitty school. He went to a shitty school surrounded by shitty people, and he's using that as his base. Got it.
I don't know how common you think that is, but stats basically indicate there's as many people with IQs of 85 and lower as there are people with IQs of 150 and higher. So, and I already said that the minimum IQ level of anybody in this room is likely to be something around 115. So, the person in this room who has the lowest general cognitive ability is smarter than 85% of the general population. At 85 and lower,
where does he get these metrics?
There's just as many people there as there is at 115 and higher. At 85 and lower, then you don't get literacy. So people with IQs of 90 or less have a difficult time translating written words into action, so they can't really read instructions.
So what we've learned here is that Jordan Peterson went to a shit school surrounded by morons, and he thinks, I'm smart, and this is a smart college, so everyone else here must also be as smart as me because they got in, and they're stupid. So He's developed an ego about his intelligence and thinks it makes him smarter and better than the average bear. And then he went out into the real world and tried to tell the real world how to conduct itself because he knows better despite having not been in it yet. And everyone basically told him to go fuck himself. And now he's frustrated, or was frustrated. And this was a few years ago, so this is probably how the beginning of his spiral down the right wing path, because he's learning that he seems to have a problem understanding reality. Because instead of going back to the drawing board and saying, well, maybe my test is missing some key elements, and that's why it's not a good test for what people want here, maybe I should, maybe I should go back to the drawing board and redo my test a little bit. Instead of doing that, he said, oh, well, they're incompetent. Yeah, like everything's someone else's fault with him. Jordan, buddy. I'm just a dumb community college guy who did a college transfer, so I only did 2 years at a real college. I should be much dumber than you, and yet here I have figured out the things you can't. Should have picked up that DMR. Missing way too many shots with this. To the point it's not worth me doing. Jordan. I think his emotions get in the way of his judgment. He's more worried about how all this stuff is going to make people feel. Which is weird that he, leans to the right now. Because they're the ones that are facts over feelings, blah, 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 snowflake this and snowflake that. And this dude cries in, every other interview. He's very much, hard on his sleeve kind of dude. How is... Fucking shit, I couldn't move. Oh god, I could not track him. I need to adjust my scope sensitivity. He's out moving the scope. You saw me try to track him. I'm moving at the same speed as the person. He's just ahead of it. Okay. Well, lesson learned on that one. Sensitivity. Advanced look sensitivity. Aim down sight ADS. What is this one at 16? I do want it to be slightly slower, so let's put it up at 12. Just a hair higher. Because that could have been better. I need to be doing the racing anyway. Unlock those quests I was doing. Alright. Rocket racing. How's no one online tonight? No Enjoy, no Wolf Waffle. Or TBT. Let's check the Xbox itself. Where's everybody at? Alt 76. I should be playing that. I haven't played that in a while. Or TBT watching Netflix. Got this playing Minecraft. Failing in Warframe. He's in Siege. You know what? I'm gonna be that guy. I'm just gonna send you an invite to this while you're playing Siege, because you. See if that'll get his attention. And I'm gonna do some rocket racing. Nobody online on Epic. Everybody else is away. Yeah, just ain't many people online. Alright, let's check that quest. So this is the quest I need to do, which is travel distance. So I just need to travel distance. I think the other quest was... Yeah, the one for tires is complete ranked races, complete ranked races, complete ranked races. The blue one's the one I want, so complete runs and speed run matches. I need to do 15 speed run matches to get the tires I want to complete my Tron car. So, go do speed run. Let's go do speed run. Who's online in my actual Discord server? Which, if you guys aren't in and aren't a part of, links are above my head here. Actually, I think I need to put the Discord one. Links are not above my head. I'm not on that screen. Whoops. Well, I can give you the links in chat. I think I need to make a new invite link for Discord. The perma links don't seem to be permanent. So let me know if you guys want it on the Discord. Let me know if it doesn't work. We've probably going to be starting a Minecraft server soon. I'm testing a realm right now. So the realm, I think I can invite up to 100 people to the realm, but only 10 can be on at a time. But I'm trying to make it so that it's got all kinds of security features so you guys can protect your stuff from each other. You know, obviously anyone caught being an absolute dick in there and just ruining and wrecking people's shit, that and making the experience not fun for others will be, you know, kicked and permabanned. But I could, you know, put supporters in there, have the supporter only Discord. So if you sub or you, maybe I'll put that, maybe I'll make a Patreon to kind of combine all these different platforms I stream on. Not familiar with this course. Ah, fuck, I'm already fucking up. What? To be in the air to finish the race? Run it again. I did not do well on that one. Gotta find a better way around that. Damn. This track is rough. Not my best. Give it a go. Okay, there we go. see if we can get a different track. Or is it just that track? Is it just one track for speedrun? Like, how's speedrun work? I think I got a decent lap on that one. It says speedrun playlist, so I'm assuming there's more than just this one track. Wondering if the reason why Jordan Peterson's popular is just because of the way he talks. Kind of like people assume that British people are smart just because of the accent, even when they can be saying the most moronic shit ever. I'm wondering if that's like what's happening with Jordan Peterson. It's like he sounds like he speaks in a way that sounds intelligent, but the advice he's given is really bad if you actually sit down and think about it or were to try it. As he showed, he tried his own stuff in real life and people were rejecting it. Like, I would have wanted to see the laws he was citing. I would have wanted to see the test he was giving these people. Like, I would have wanted to see all of the stuff he was talking about instead of just taking him at his word for stuff. Because when you start talking about documents and things that can be cited, well, then cite them. Talk about them. Why is this taking so long to load? Yeah. Well, same track, only this time I get a bunch of people to go up against. I wonder why I can't get to that. I think I gotta jump higher to get to that. Damn, that guy got 27? Is this counting towards... Like, is this guy actually counting towards the quest each time I hit run it again? Or is it... Yeah, it was. So I can just keep it and run it again, run it again, run it again until I've done 15. Okay. Cool, good to know. Peach tea. Alright, what else is on the YouTubes? Need more recent stuff with him. All stuff's like 5 years old. I'm 9 years old, 6 years old, 3 years old. Has he not done anything recent? Like, did he just disappear from the internet? Oh, here we go, a different track. Oh, this is just drift challenge right here. I can do better. Oh, so you just keep running it as much as you want, like it doesn't matter where people are on the track. Jesus. Fishtailing like a motherfucker. Not as good as my last one. Not doing as good as my last one this time either. Nope. Did even worse on that one. Just keep running it till I get the tires I want, then we'll go to regular racing. I gotta quit touching the edge of the track. Vehicle paint, complete speed run matches. I'm at 8 of 15. Keep going. Speed run to speed run races. Let's see. Let's go. Let's get this done. Damn it! A lot harder to breeze through when you're... I was better on the last one, but still not my best. Touching the wall. Oh, not a good run. I got the first one better. Ah, it didn't spin. A little weight on the boost right there, so I'm slightly behind my ghost car. I missed them. They're so high up on the track. Rode the wall too long on that. Damn, felt like I was doing good, but I did worse than every other run. I felt like I had a pretty perfect run on that one. I didn't hit the wall at any till the very end. Ah, fuck. I gotta not hit the one at the end. Damn, I did better on all the other ones except for the last bit. Hitting that ball cost me. Oh, it gives me a time limit on how many times I can rerun this. Of course, I'm having my best run, and it's gonna tell me I can't anymore. Nah, it doesn't matter. I hit both of those. The timer's fucking with me. Actually, I think I'm still ahead on my ghost. Nope, slightly behind it. Hitting those balls, man. Cost me. $35.80. Got Discord messages. Alright, ready up. 6 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 5 years ago. Stop hating transgender people, Jordan Peterson. Oh, now that is 3 days ago. We'll watch that one here in a second, because that doesn't seem like his normal message. Wondered what caused the change of heart here. You get 7 minutes to run as many speed runs as you can. Try to get the best score. Okay. There's my 15. So we're done. I got the paint I wanted. I don't care about the other paints. I just wanted that one. That's all I wanted. Now we'll do some Peterson stuff. What I get? Can make my Tron car look more like a Tron car. Yeah, see, that matches the paint color. Okay. All right, time to equip that. Give me the paint I want. Oh my God. Tron car. Woo! All right, Jordan. Let's check out your new shit.
If you think.
Hold on. Let's get this popped out. And slot it right in there.
You know Jordan Peterson? Think again, because what you're about to watch is the most incisive set of clips from his conversation with John Stossel that cuts through the cultural noise of our time to reveal the true kernel of his message. And I think what makes it so refreshing to watch is John Stossel's impeccable ability to play devil's advocate as a journalist, soliciting from Jordan many ideas that had remained hidden before. There's many different tangents to this conversation I need to show you, but watch this before we get into it.
Yeah, it's popular with young men because you're saying, yeah, go ahead, abuse women.
No, I've never said anything like that, and I think that's...
It's okay to hate trans people.
No, it's not okay, particularly to hate anyone, maybe even your enemies. And
oh, he
what
made
I've
a
talked about
generalized
has
statement.
virtually nothing to do in any real technical sense with trans people. The stance I took on Bill C-16 was an anti-compelled speech stance, and I stand by it. Absolutely. There's never been a piece of legislation in the history
knew the
of the English
implication.
common law that compelled private speech. Not once. There has been legislation that compelled commercial speech. So, for example, if you sell tobacco, you have to put a warning.
Although
on
I
the
do agree
product.
with them on the compelled
That's commercial
speech.
speech. It's very, very limited, and even that's been extraordinarily limited.
Just saying,
The
for a
Supreme
guy
Court
as
in the
smart as
US
him, he
in the
could have worded it
1940s
better.
Came out and stated forthrightly that there was to be no compelled speech generated by the legislative and the executive branches, that was unconstitutional. And it violates English common law tradition. And the fact that it has to do with transgender people is virtually irrelevant. The issue is compelled speech. And if it wasn't the issue, this would have died away. All this scandal surrounding this would have died away 18 months ago. It's not what it's about. It's about the government and the ideologues that are pushing this sort of legislation, attempting to exercise tyrannical control over voluntary speech. And that's a no-go zone as far as I'm concerned.
So if somebody wants to be called Z or Zer, why not?
I don't care what people want to be called, that's fine, but that doesn't mean I should be compelled by law to call them that. The government has absolutely no
So that
business
was where he was at with that.
ever governing the content of your voluntary speech. Like, I don't even like hate speech laws. I think they're a big mistake. And that says what you can't say, right? This is what you have to say. That's a whole different,
Yeah,
We're personally willing to accommodate people if they want to be called something odd.
We could have a conversation about that, and if I was convinced that you knew why you were asking, that was actually
Okay, so
in
if
your
I take the
best
top, I
interest,
have to jump at the end.
and you weren't just attempting to exercise ideological control over me for reasons that had absolutely nothing to do with you personally, then I might consider it
Rocking
in my
up, Death
private
Witch.
conversation, just like I would if you asked me to use a nickname, for example. So, but there's a big difference between privately negotiated modes of address and legislatively demanded compelled speech. It really has nothing to do with transgender people or, except peripherally, the transgender issue. It's complicated because the legislation that I objected to also writes a social constructionist view of human identity into the law.
Social constructionist? Nobody knows what that means.
It means it's the theory that underlies the proclamation that gender identity is only a social
better to
construct.
just float
It's only
across
something
it.
you learn. It's only a performance, that it has no grounding in biology. That's wrong. Now it's written into our law.
I think it's clear enough that Jordan's opposition to Canada's compelled speech legislation had very little to do with any supposed transphobia, but there's actually an angle that a lot of people don't see. You'll often hear people say that Canada not having something as robust as the First Amendment led to a bill like C-16 passing, but
Yeah.
they're missing a vital part of the picture. If you actually read the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms,
Yeah, I don't know the Canadian
it arguably contains
thing.
even more protection against compelled speech by just how broadly it defines free speech. It clearly states that, quote, everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of conscience and religion, and freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression. So you might be asking, how come Bill C-16, which compelled
Yeah, but that becomes contradictory with the pronoun thing, because it says that they have everyone has the right to expression, and if their expression requires the validation of others, now you run into the problem.
Of Rights and Freedoms guarantees
I see where the problem is now.
freedoms set out in it subject only to such reasonable limits prescribed by law as can be demonstrated justified in a free and democratic society. In other words, by using the phrase reasonable limits, it ultimately leaves open the question of interpretation to subjectivity of the time. And in a Canadian political scene that's already taken over by a kind of resentful, self-victimizing mindset, it's a lot easier to convince the courts that compelling speech for the supposed greater good falls within the purview of the Constitution. Jordan Peterson had been virtually screaming about this back then, but evidently to no avail.
Why is it wrong? Lots of people.
Yeah, it's because they included the part about the right to expression, and that gender expression requires that other people call you that.
So as societies become more egalitarian,
They wrote themselves
this
into
is
a corner with
mainstream
that
science,
charter.
By the way, this isn't pseudoscience. This is mainstream science. And it was discovered by people who are basically liberal or left-leaning, so it went against the grain, which is part of the reason why it's actually reliable. As societies become more egalitarian, the differences between men and women increase rather than decreasing, and that happens for personality. It happens for spontaneous interest, like the domain of your interest, which is basically people versus things. And it happens for the probability that women will enroll in STEM fields. So the more egalitarian the society, the lower the probability that women will enroll in STEM fields. And that runs contrary to the desires
God,
of the
I'm all over the
researchers who
place.
generated the data, because no one wanted that. It came as a shock to everyone, but that's how it is.
That's what they found.
And those papers have been cited. They've studied tens of thousands of people in dozens of countries, and the papers have been cited thousands of times.
And yet when you say this, it infuriates some people.
It should infuriate them, because I'm going right after the heart of the radical leftist doctrine. So it's no wonder they're infuriated.
The radical leftist doctrine, which is?
Well, partly it is that human identity is purely learned. And the reason that radical leftists believe that is because they believe that if there's no central human nature, then human beings can be transformed sociologically, politically, into the image that the radical leftists would prefer.
Which would be?
Oh, God only knows, the new man or some bloody thing like that. The sort of thing that the communists were touting back in the 1920s. The reshaping of society on an egalitarian basis with equality of outcome for everyone. All these unbelievably pathological and divisive and deadly ideas.
And so for challenging this, they call you a transphobic piece of shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what they do.
They've called me lots of things. Hitler, that was one. I was either Hitler or Milo Yiannopoulos, and
Yeah.
that was one of the. So, which is quite.
I hate
insult
putting
there.
that shit on the
You're either
edges of the
Hitler or
tracks.
Milo
That's such
Yiannopoulos.
bullshit.
The bloody leftists, they can't even get their insults straight. It should be as discreditable.
If you wanna make the
to
track
say that
smaller,
you're
just
a
make the
Marxist
track
as it
smaller.
is to say that you're a Nazi, given what we know about the absolutely deadly consequences of the implementation of Marxist doctrine. This is a real issue, is that we know the left can go too far. Everyone knows that. And there's a reason for there to be a
Maybe
left
it passed.
wing. The left speaks for people who are dispossessed.
They're speaking up for the weak. Men run most of society. They're defending women. Trans people are often horribly punished, discriminated against.
Yeah, well,
So you're a bully.
There's no doubt that you need someone to speak up for the dispossessed, but that doesn't mean you get to play identity politics.
Yeah,
And
the
identity
government
politics
shouldn't get
just
to pick
invites a
who
division
speaks
into
up for them.
tribalism on the right and the left.
Is the point
the
you
right
should be
plays
making.
identity politics too. I would say more in reaction, but it's not a good game. It's not a game that anyone will ever win. It's a game you play if you want everyone to lose.
On that, it's actually better to consider the root text of that study and consider how that falls into what Jordan Peterson just said. The research put out by Leeds Beckett University calls it the gender equality paradox in STEM education. And on page 10 of the document, you see one of the most important visualizations that make this point clear. The better a country scores in its global gender equality index, the fewer women it has in STEM fields, which, if you don't know, just stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You see
Yeah.
countries in
My kids go to
Algeria,
a STEM school.
Tunisia, and Vietnam with some of the highest percentages of women in STEM at nearly 45%. And you see more egalitarian countries like the Nordic states, including Finland, Norway, and Sweden, having the least. Can anyone really argue that Algeria or Vietnam is a freer place for women to choose their occupations than Norway and Sweden? Clearly not, and yet this research, which strikes at the knee of many of our modern ideas around gender,
Makes you wonder what they're doing different with their education system then to give to set women up for that.
Of the ideology, it's much less
I feel like this
convenient
goes
to make sure
deeper
that
than just
ideology
going,
remains standing.
we're
Identity
blocking
politics
women.
is a little vague for people. What's the harm? They're saying, shut up. You men dominate everything anyway. And you're just making it worse.
I'm not
for
feeling
weak
real
people.
dominant right
First
now.
of all, I think the idea that like men
Living paycheck to paycheck
tyrannically
over here.
everything is a pretty damn weak argument. It's like you look around, I'm always amazed coming to a place like New York City. And New York's an absolute miracle. It's impossible, this place, right? I mean, how many people come here a day? 7 million? It's fundamentally peaceful. Everything works, right? It's rich beyond belief. Everyone is doing better here than anybody has ever done on the face of the planet throughout recorded history, and the whole West is like that. And to call that all a tyrannical patriarchy is indicative of a very deep resentment and a historical ignorance that's so profound that it's indistinguishable from willful blindness. So look, every society has its tyrannical aspect, and nothing is perfect, but we do not so bad in the West. From the year 2000 to the year 2012, the rate of absolute poverty in the world fell by 50%. It's like, that's pretty good for a patriarchal tyranny. That was the fastest economic development in the history of the world. The great scholars of the totalitarian systems of the 20th century, whether they were on the right or the left, point very, very directly to a relationship between the individual's willingness to subvert their own speech and to speak known lies and the totalitarian excesses of the state.
Damn it, he pushed
Those two
me.
things are directly related causally. There has to be an overarching conceptual framework that we all agree on, or we can't exist peacefully. So if you don't want us to exist peacefully, then you can demolish the overarching framework and let everyone revert to their own personal truth. But all that means is chaos. You can't even run a household that way.
Not if I'm speaking my truth.
Well, you try that with your wife and see how far that goes. The university disciplines
Depends
that
on your
are
wife.
particularly politically correct, like women's studies, are completely homogenous. in
Mine's a
their
pretty
internal
open-minded
viewpoint.
gal.
They've never heard these facts.
First of all, they don't regard them as facts because, well, they don't regard science as an independent and valid discipline, let's say. They regard it as an extension of the oppressive patriarchy. And they're not all that interested in facts. They're interested in ideological completeness, let's say, and have a very shaky grasp on history, especially the history of the 20th century.
Should have
You know,
boosted
there
earlier.
are reasons for
Last curve
the
got me.
leftist utopian vision. Inequality is a painful reality, right? And every system that we know generates inequality. It's a real problem, at least the capitalist free market
So
system.
what's wrong with them saying we have to fight this?
Because there's no evidence that you reduce inequality by doing that. It doesn't help. Like, we don't know how to reduce inequality, and laying inequality at the feet of the capitalist world or at the feet of Western society is ignorant almost beyond comprehension. Inequality is a way worse problem than that.
And that's what gives rise to a glaring lack of understanding about human civilization. When you're ascending or reaching for something bigger and better, you're going to have inequality in how fast everyone can reach that ideal. And in this case, it certainly is a balancing act, because think about it. If you're looking to equalize a society and have made that your most important goal, is it easier to make everyone lagging behind catch up to the fastest members?
Yeah.
Or simply cut down the fastest ones to the average medium? Time
Yeah,
and
if
time
everyone's
again,
on the
we've seen
same
latter
level, then
option
no one's
exercised
exceptional.
in left-wing
And
utopias gone
that's
wrong
just
in
not the way
history.
it works.
People
Like,
went from being unequal in their flourishing to equal.
equality
with their
doesn't mean
misery.
having the same number of each demographic in a thing. It means having an even playing field for everyone to compete in,
Populous we become since the
and that
Second
you
World
can
War.
succeed
Still,
on that
that's a
playing
common
field no
thread
matter
you
what
see in
demographic
young
you are.
people and students who seem to think
If you're
they
looking
put
for
their
someone
finger
to
on the right
place
problems
you
and
next to
have
someone
the
more
confidence to
successful
fix them.
simply
These are
because
young
there's no one
people.
else like you
They're
there,
so
that's
sure
not
of
equality.
themselves. Where do they get
That's
this?
giving that person an
Well,
unfair
you can lay
advantage.
that primarily at the feet of the universities. As far as I'm concerned, the humanities and the social sciences, the humanities in particular, disciplines like women's and ethnic studies, which are corrupt right to the core and have been ever since their inception. They're ideologically motivated by their own admission, They're out to produce radical leftist activists by their own admission. All you have to do is go to the websites of these disciplines and look at how they advertise for new recruits. They feed students who are confused and often cynical, prematurely and bitter, an absolutely toxic ideological brew that's predicated on the idea that compassion trumps everything as a moral virtue and that society is essentially tyrannical. It's like society is tyrannical, but it's not essentially tyrannical. And compassion is
I can jump through that house. Okay. Thanks for the heads up, guys.
In any case. And the Marxist doctrine, despite its surface attractiveness, is clearly murderous. We've got 100 million corpses stacked up to demonstrate that.
Murderous then, but they say Stalin is a bad individual. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah, so was Mao, so was Pol Pot. The thing is it was tried everywhere, under all sorts of different conditions, by all sorts of different people, with all sorts of different rationales, and the end consequence was always the same. Look at Venezuela. Do you know it is now illegal in Venezuela to list starvation as the cause of death in a hospital? That's how the Venezuelan government is dealing with food shortages, right? They've made it illegal to diagnose starvation as the cause of death. It's like that
doesn't solve anything.
Marxist doctrine. So if people, I've heard this all many, many times, that wasn't real communism. You know what that means? That means that if I would have been the benevolent dictator in the place of Stalin, then I would have brought in the utopia. There isn't a more narcissistic and toxic and inexcusable statement that you can possibly make.
What's most important to remember about many of these social moves to the left is that it's very easy for the foot to slip on the slope to more collectivist ideologies. It's in the collectivist political model that antagonism between groups breaks them even further until you've got just the right amount of friction for conflict to start. That's what we saw in Soviet Russia, and we see the glimmers of that in modern America. And it's exactly why it's so important for people to remain vigilant against even the slightest attempts to abandon our individualist tradition for some vision of this collectivist utopia that has been tried and failed before.
And what does communism have to do with you calling somebody by the name they want to be called?
Well, what's paramount?
Compelled
your
speech
group
is.
or you as an individual.
I think he's going to go with the
Collectivist
slippery slope
claim is that the proper mode of analysis
is better. We're all in this together. People like that.
Yeah, the collectivist idea is that the canonical element of your identity is your group, whatever that is. Now that's a problem because
he's going to go with the
fits
slippery
into
slope
multiple
thing,
groups, which is why intersectionality arose, right? Because that was the left's discovery of their own Achilles heel. But the fundamental claim is that, yeah, people are best conceptualized as part of their group identity, and that you are obliged to respect that identity no matter what. And that drives, in part, these legislative moves that make address that takes into account group identity of paramount importance. So it's a tenuous connection, but the thread still exists. It's connected, at least in part, through the doctrine of radical egalitarianism, right? The idea that equality outcome is the goal to be desired, even hypothetically, which of course it's wrong hypothetically and wrong practically for a variety of reasons. I mean, the first is you don't want to equalize across all possible dimensions of comparison because that would make everyone exactly the same in every possible way. And you can't imagine a situation that would be less commensurate with freedom.
Yeah, we're not all
and
created
diversity,
equal.
let's say, which is another of the left's shibboleths, than a
just not
society where
reality.
everyone was compelled to be equal in every possible way.
But people like that idea.
Yeah, it's a fun idea,
Well,
but
there's
we're not
there's
all
truth
equal.
to it in a sense. Like we're all equal before God. We're all equal before the law. But that's
Yeah,
where it stops.
that's what it
And
means.
then
We're
we're
all
as different
equal
as we can
before
be
the law.
after that. And then we actually want to be, because you don't want to pursue the same things that I
Yeah,
want to pursue.
genetically
You don't
speaking,
want to
we're all
succeed
different.
in the
Like,
same
yeah,
way
like
that I want to succeed.
some people
And you
just
might say, well,
are
we
born
don't
with
want there to be
advantages, others
success
aren't,
because there
be
has to
them
be failure.
biological
No,
or
and
just
that's the problem.
societal.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's-
inequality problem. But is
we're
that
all
really
equal in the
case?
eyes of the law.
Is you want
We're
to
supposed to be.
eradicate success as part of the price you pay for eradicating failure? No one lives that way. People might say that's what they want, but no one lives that way, because if you eradicate success, then you have no impetus for action. What are you doing? You acting so that you'll fail? Is that your motivation? Well, if you want to be motivated, which means if you want to have a purpose in life, like a purpose to set us against the suffering, then you have to be aiming at something where success is a possibility. And that opens up the landscape of success and failure. And there's pain associated with that. But that doesn't mean we eradicate the hierarchy of value itself and leave no one with anything to do. It's a terrible doctrine in every way. and it's mostly motivated by resentment.
It's a doctrine that puts a low ceiling on what every member of society can achieve or produce, not allowing members to reach up and grab every star they want while benefiting other people in the process. People's incentive and impetus is taken away from them, making every desire to level up seen as a desire to oppress by being unequal. A person with an ingenious innovation idea has no real reason to work toward realizing it, since he's really just a vessel for the state, and so is his labor. A world like this strips away from people their desire to improve, become wealthy, produce more, and benefit society from their talent and labor, and in doing that, it takes away a large part of their meaning in life. I think Jordan puts his finger on things so well
whatever.
that it's impossible not to be moved by it, and arguably he presents the egalitarian case better than even its own proponents can do, before striking it down with the weight of experience, knowledge, and historical perspective. That's what has catapulted him as a vital voice on the issue, and that's what made this conversation with John Stossel such a great watch.
Oh, fuck. I'm expecting that to end. I was in the middle of a race.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth spoiler mode.
Oh, fuck.
Special guest.
Didn't mean to watch this either.
Dude, how's it doing, Maximilian? Dude, how's it doing? How's it
I
going?
mean, I've already heard this podcast, but don't worry. There's not many spoilers in the beginning of this for those of you who haven't beat Final Fantasy VII yet.
And we've all collided once again. It's good to see you all.
Yeah. Little foreshadowing right there.
All right. Well. All right, we'll stop it there. All right, the Jordan Peterson thing. He's right on this one. He's just right. I think people's interpretations of things are wrong. People take the Constitution too literally. I wish they had been better with their description when writing it. So the all men are created equal. Obviously didn't mean only men, and the created equal meant in the eyes of the law. So whether or not the way it's supposed to work is whether or not you're high society, and because they came from a monarchy where the upper class tend to treat the lower class a certain way, and they tend to get away with things like it seemed like a separate set of laws applied to them, which created this divide in the social classes. So when they started their own country, they included that line because they wanted to make it so that whether or not you're high society or living in the slums, if you commit murder, rob a bank, if you commit a crime, in the eyes of the law, that punishment is equal to no matter what class you are. That the process for judging you is the same no matter where you stand on the social ladder. That is what the all men are created equal line is about. It's not about the fact that you all have, equal levels of intelligence, equal this, equal pay, equal blah, 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 blah. It's not talking about economics. It's talking about the law. Now, when it comes to economics, equality is something that people tend to confuse. The difference between equality and equity. So, like, if you want something to be truly equal in terms of, like, the employment field, what that should mean is that there's an even playing field so that everyone has the same chance of getting that job as everyone else. You fill out your application, you have the required skills, the best candidate gets the job. Personally, I think that job applications should not have boxes for, like, if you really wanted to make it equal. That's why this confused me. If you really wanted to make it equal, it seems like a pretty easy fix. We changed the hiring process so that you fill out your application. You should do your interview over the phone so that you can't see the person. Like, the employer shouldn't be able to see their employee until first day on the job, and then they've got their foot in the door. So you'd fill out your application. The application would have no box for race or gender at all. Just remove that from the application. If it doesn't matter, then why is it there? If you're trying to make it equal, why even have it? You do your interview over the phone, so they can't see the person. They can't judge them based on their looks. They can't judge them based on their race. All they know is their voice. And yeah, people are going to have some bias based on voice, blah, blah, blah. But you can then get a feel for their personality, blah, blah, blah. You can do their interview over the phone, ask them the questions you need to ask them. You know, so if their application looks good, they've got the qualifications, they've got the required education, they've got the required experience, whatever. It seems like they've got the skill set. I'm going to call them up to do an interview. Instead of scheduling them to come in for that interview, say, hey, let's go ahead. Do the interview now. All right. You got 10, 15 minutes, sit down. We'll ask you a few questions. We'll do it. Everything looks good. You've passed the interview process. You've answered all their questions successfully. You seem like a good fit for the job. Cool. I'll meet you on Monday. Come on in. You go in. Now you introduce yourself. Now they see what they've hired. And at that point, you've been through the process. You're onboarded. You're in the system. And if they want to fire you because you came in and they don't like something about you, they don't like the way you look, they don't like your skin color, they don't like your gender, they don't like your haircut, they don't like your clothes, your whatever, then they have to go through the firing process. So they have to give you that chance to actually do the job and fuck it up. Now, as far as some stuff on your appearance, obviously, depending on the job, they can probably say stuff about. If they have a dress code, and that's part of it, then you obviously have to abide by that dress code. You can't just wear whatever you want to work. All that stuff should be on the application as well. It should say we have restrictions on hairstyle. We have restrictions on this. We have restrictions on this, this, and this. Like, they should warn you up front what you're signing up for so that everybody has an even chance and no one's surprised. You're not surprised when you get there to find out that, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't have dreadlocks, or, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't have a facial piercing, you know? And then they can't be like, oh, well, I didn't realize that they were, you know, same thing, that they were going to be this, that they were going to be that, because all those boxes are on there warning you what to expect. People who don't fit that shouldn't even be applying. So gender doesn't matter because you can't discriminate based on gender. Can't discriminate based on race, can't discriminate based on sexuality. Like, none of those questions should even be on the application, in my personal opinion. So, but people don't actually want equality. They want equity, which is more akin to, it's not quite affirmative action, but it's something closer to that, where it's like, hey, the job needs representation. We need a diverse cast of characters at this job. We can't walk into a Walmart and have only white employees or only black employees, you know, even though those were all the candidates that were most fit for the job. We looked through all the applications and we didn't know their race before we interviewed them. They were just the ones that happened to do the best every time. They don't want that. They want, okay, well, you've got 6 cashiers. 6 of them are white. Somebody's got to go. We got to get, you know, got to get a minority in here. Got to get a, you know, whatever. I don't personally like that feeling forced thing. I kind of, maybe it's my video game brain kicking in, but I treat the job market and the job, you know, the employment market the same way I do a video game. And in order to make a video game a fair playing field in a competitive game like Fortnite or like Call of Duty, for instance, everybody has to have access to the same things the minute the match starts. That's why everybody hates pay-to-win stuff in video games, because you're paying for access to something that other players don't have if they didn't pony up the money. So when the match starts, you've now got guns they don't have, or you've got a car they don't have in a racing game or whatever. And in real life, we kind of have a pay-to-win system when it comes to employment. People who can pay for and afford better schools have more options. People who can live in a better neighborhood have more connections, etc., etc. So if you really want to make it equal, then you get rid of the things on the application that judge based on that. Like, I don't even think it should ask you what school you went to. It should just ask you what degree you have. Did you go to college? That should be a yes or no question. What's your highest level of, you know, education completed? You tell them what level, and then they should ask, well, what degree did you get? And you state your degree. It shouldn't ask you what school specifically. It shouldn't ask you all of that stuff. But that would kind of kill the college market, because then they couldn't use their prestige and their, you know, the higher more expensive paying colleges wouldn't have a selling point then. So yes, we have a very much pay to win system. You could fix a lot of this, but it would kill a lot of the economy when it comes to schooling and things like that, because now the degree would be what mattered, and that could come up in the interview, or maybe that could come up in the interview where they ask what school, but it shouldn't be required that you share that information. If you want to brag that you're from a better school, fine, but if not, you can just say I went to a good school. I went to an out-of-state school. You can give a more generic answer, and that should also be acceptable. The only requirement the job could be is like, hey, can you prove that you went to the school? They could ask for the diploma or something, I guess. Could ask for the certificate if you're under certificate, diploma, degree, whatever. So, I don't know. That one gets a little more complicated, but I feel like there's ways to level that playing field the same way you would in a video game, where if you meet the requirements, then you get the interview, then your foot's in the door. The things that should definitely not be on the education, not be on the application, is it should definitely not be asking me what kind of genitals I have. It definitely shouldn't be asking me what my race is, what my weight or height is, unless it's a like physical job that I could get hurt at. If that's like, if it's asking, it should only ask questions that are relevant to the job. And if you're telling me race, sexuality, and gender are irrelevant, then they shouldn't be on the application. I don't know. That's where I stand on it. I know they're never gonna do that because money's made in those departments in those fields, and there is. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I'm not gonna say there's a conspiracy, but there's definitely a business element to it. I'll put it that way. So I don't know how you fix it, short of passing new laws. And the problem is these colleges are in the pockets of they lobby and they pay a lot of money, and it's kind of the result of a capitalist system where you've got colleges, universities, you've got businesses, Amazon, Facebook, etc. You've got these things that have more money than the government. Kind of hard to get them to pass laws, to get the government to pass laws to keep them in check when they've got enough money to buy the entire government if they wanted. Like they're a lot of them are a bit too powerful, and things do tend to skew in their favor, which means they get to indirectly make some of the rules. Or at least it feels that way. But I don't work in the government, so maybe I'm just talking out my ass. Let's do some more races. Who's online? What's Waffle doing? Still playing Siege. I don't have Siege installed. I saw him send me an invite to Siege. I don't have Siege installed. Anybody else playing with him? Alright, if we got a full team, I might download it real quick. No, it's just him. I don't want to play without a full team. Like, I feel like we'd have a full team and we could actually get some play out of it. I was talking with Fox about that last night. Like, we'd have me, Fox, Wolf Waffle, Enjoy. That's 4 right there. Aren't they 5-man teams? All you need is, like, doesn't Lure TBT play? We could get TBT in there. So, yeah, and then we'd have a full team. And then I don't really care if I lose or how good we do, because I'd have a full team of communication. It would just be a more enjoyable experience than just, rolling your dice with randos. Fucking hate rolling my dice with randos. I just got to keep traveling distance in the car. I'm trying to get the Tron car. The one that looks like the Tron car, the neon car for the neon event. I just need to keep racing. We'll turn the music back on. I'm done with YouTube for the time being. Take a little break. Fuck! Right as I was about to hit the button to apply changes. That shit happens. Oh, fuck. I don't remember seeing the duckies on the side of the course like that. Maybe I just missed him. Maybe it took. Maybe it saved. I don't know. I ain't got time to look now. Race about to start. We'll see if it plays music during the race. Doesn't sound like it. Ah, fuck, I missed it because he took it from me. Fuck, I'm hitting the wall. Damn! How did I not fucking... Oh, I just barely hit the side of the wall. I was like... Urgh. Milliseconds behind him. Milliseconds behind him. Fuck, man. That hurts, bro. I almost had him. So, hitting the edge of the track where the orange part is doesn't count as hitting a hazard, even though it acts as a hazard. It's weird. Oh, fuck, that's right. I forgot to... It says music's at 90%. Oh boy. See if it plays music this time. Driving on the track is faster than flying through the air, but the best shortcuts might require taking to the skies. Yeah, so I try to stay on the ground as much as I can. Just for the added base speed. Running numbers in my head, you know. Years of playing Diablo got me thinking about my speed on the track, like DPS in the game. What's the fastest, most efficient way to get to the end, you know? It's all about making number go big. Make a number bigger. Make speed go up. Make damage go up. Win game. Yeah, there's my music. Okay, it just didn't take that last race. Oh, it's this one. It acts like it's a U-turn, but it's not actually a U-turn. Always bounce off the ground right there and miss that. off me, bitch. You're an asshole. You're an asshole. You're an asshole. Everybody holding on to their boost. Well, except that guy. Just bounce over that one. This does seem to be the fastest route. Ah, fuck, I missed it. Missed the last boost at the end. Cost me. I used that way too early. I still pulled third. Should have saved the boost right for the end there. I may have been able to beat the guy in second. I used it too early. Yeah, because I was only like 75 milliseconds, 74 milliseconds behind that guy. Fuck, man, that's close. I'd have saved my boost for the end. I could have pulled second. See? Running the numbers. Running the numbers. All right, next race. Let's do it. Should check in on my... Should work on my Minecraft server a little bit. Got the portal set up. Found a village. So we can do some trading with the villagers. Yeah, I can do some trading with villagers. We got the, I got the portals, got the villagers. I got security, so you can lock chests, lock doors, lock your houses, protect your shit. Trying to think, what else does it need while I'm playing around with add-ons? How close am I to my next rank? 62%. I'm getting there. Almost got that platinum again, baby. That's what's trying to go platinum. We got any snacks? I think I got some protein puffs and a... Turn to lobby. It's not finding a match anyway. Take a quick break and go grab a... go grab a drink because I'm out of my peach tea here. What'd I get? What'd I unlock? Titanium white. Orange. Not quite the look I'm going for with that car. I want the neon lights, but we're getting closer. Saffron painted style. Getting there. It's getting there. There we go. I'll give this some music to listen to. I'll take a quick break. Be right back. Kind of disappointed that playing Rocket Racing and Lego Fortnite doesn't count towards this avatar thing, toward these special event battle passes. Especially since the special event battle passes include stuff for Lego Fortnite. And I think the racing one? Maybe not. Maybe not this one. Oh. Why does my camera always do that after I turn from the thing? That's why. It makes me way too bright. Then I gotta adjust it. I think I fixed it though. I think I got it where it won't do that anymore. Yeah, because it's got the Lego Fortnite version of Aang at the end of it. It doesn't look like there is anything for... Doesn't look like there is anything for Rocket Racing in here. Oh, okay. That's cute. What's this one? I do like the way your like fists line up with the blue line in the middle when she does that. Not enough to pay $10 to upgrade to another battle pass. Let me switch over Lego Fortnite just so I can see the quests associated with it. Oh, what's new in Lego Fortnite? Hadn't seen this yet. Eat my Nutri-Green protein pack. It's new. Hashtag not sponsored. Nutri-Green protein bites. They taste slightly less like dirt than a protein bar. They add new default houses to build in this. Fry fishing. The compass and spyglass are new. Fishing's new. Wants us to build villages in specific places. Have they made... Nope, Deadpool's still not ported over. Michonne's still not ported over. Anybody else still not... Dead Space still not ported over. Peter Griffin still not ported over. See what kind of Lego skins are... Surprised the Marvel stuff still ain't ported over yet. Doom Guy still not ported over. Street Fighter stuff still not ported over. Master Splinter works though. And Shredder. You know what I mean? See, Hulk is looking better now than he did at first. Venom has been in the process of being ported over. Super Shredder works. There I saw his invite. I'll check it in a second. Going through this right now. None of the Dragon Ball stuff's ported. That one looks weird. Jonesy. He's still not ported over. So a lot of them still not ported over yet. Complete 13. Oh, I gotta complete all 13 to get the car I want. God damn. Which is just keep driving, keep driving, keep driving. Basically. Alright, how many people are playing? You got a... Nope, Fox is in Dragon Age. He's got 2 people there. Are they in Discord? Who's in there? Can't join your Discord. You're playing copyrighted music. If you're watching, join my Discord. I'm checking BT's Discord. Like I want to join, but you guys are playing copyrighted music in there. Can't throw that up on stream. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a Snoop Dogg fan too, guys. But you trying to get my shit shut down? I gotta not use stuff like Spotify in my Discord. Myth not playing? No, Myth's not on anymore. Damn, I was gonna send him an invite to a realm too. I was gonna do Minecraft here in a second. Chat request. These gotta be bots. These gotta be bots. Give me on Insta. Remember that Instagram name because we're gonna report it. I'm guessing your Fortnite account is worth a lot. PM me on Insta for an estimate or to sell it. Not selling my fucking account. John buys Fortnite. Estimate or to sell it. And this guy is Oliver buys Fortnite. Yeah. They're all using the same structure. John buys Fortnite. Yeah, this is the second one with that same Instagram name from a different account. And they all have really long random numbers after them. So these accounts are getting banned left and right. Look at that. Dan buys Fortnite. Yeah. It's the same message over and over again verbatim. They're bots. It's got to be bots. Whoa, let me grab my phone. That was my phone. Find it. I'm a little mad now. I know I had my phone earlier, and I can't find it. Hell. my headset for work. Please do that. Yep, that's right. I plugged up an unrecognized device because I'm going to use my computer to charge it. Whatever, you'll get over it in Windows. Get over it. That was my phone. It'll be around here somewhere. Fuck. Ah. Found it. I found it. Now I'm gonna plug it up. Okay, let's have a look at this Instagram account real quick. What was it? Dan buys? I think John buys. John buys FN was the Fortnite, was the one that we got twice, right? Okay. So, looking up this Instagram. Let's see if it's been banned yet, and if it hasn't, we're gonna... Oh, shit, let me get my camera back on. If it hasn't been banned yet, we are gonna report it. So, let's see, Instagram. Okay. Search for John buys FN. Yep, there it is. And it's not been reported yet. Professional Fortnite reseller. Holy shit! It's like a whole bot network. 5,000 followers on this one. DM me if you want to sell your account for the best price to find out the value of the account. No post. Following no one. And 5,000 followers. And that's on John Buys Fortnite. Under suggested for you, related to this account, there's like, they all have the same profile picture, and it's just, it looks like the same profile, copy and pasted over and over again. There's Oliver buys Fortnite, Tom buys Fortnite, Jim buys Fortnite, Jimmy buys Fortnite, Tyler buys Fortnite. Oh, Jesus Christ. Xander buys Fortnite, Kyle buys Fortnite, Kim buys Fortnite, Mike buys Fortnite, Mikey buys Fortnite, Matthew buys Fortnite. Yeah, they're just random names buys Fortnite over and over and over again. I feel like we're fighting the Hydra here. Like if we cut the head off one snake, two take its place. Fort something else. Let's see. Scam or fraud? Sounds like a good one. Reports received. We're gonna get them all. Get them all. Oliver buys Fortnite. Report. Scammer fraud. Tom buys Fortnite. He's got 7,000 followers. Report. And scammer fraud. Jesus. Jim buys Fortnite. He's got 6,000. Report. Scammer fraud. I'm hoping that a bunch of reports back to back for profiles that have the same structure and picture. Jimmy buys Fortnite. 3,000 followers. Scammer fraud. And goodbye, Jimmy. Okay. Tyler buys Fortnite. 6,000 followers. Fort. Scammer fraud. I can't keep going through these. There's too many. Oliver, Tom, Tim, Jim, Jimmy, Tyler, Matthew, Mike. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, we get the point. Hopefully just reporting a few of them back to back so they get a bunch of reports for the same file, for the same structure of account. And then all these accounts seem to be following each other. So maybe they'll see the pattern and just start banning them all. That's what I'm hoping for. Just trying to trigger a ban wave. I'm only one guy, so if you guys could go to John Buys Fortnite and then report him and everyone it suggests you to follow after him, maybe we can trigger a ban for this nonsense. This is definitely a scam. Yeah, definitely a scam. Okay, well, maybe Waffle and TBT aren't watching the stream because I want to join their voice chat, but I can't join their voice chat while they're playing copyrighted music in there. So, guess I'm not joining their voice chat then. I'm trapped in my own little corner of Discord. There's probably a lot of stuff you can ban me for, but copyrighted shit on stream is the dumbest reason to get banned. I'm not trying to do that. That's an easily avoidable one. The gold car that appears in speedrun tracks represents your best run of that track. Challenge yourself and get to the top. Go for a new PB, new personal best. All right, here we go. Mess with the Tron car. Pull ahead a little bit. I'm about to lap a guy? Talk about a new personal best. First time I've ever done that. Perfect run, baby. Almost a full second ahead of the guy behind me. Damn, he wasn't even close. One or two more, and we'll be at platinum. Wish it showed her with the Tron helmet in the portrait. Oh shit, I beat Mr. Beast? Damn, only 40%. I fucked that all up. Almost missed that shortcut. I forgot about it. I gotta quit hitting the edge of the track. Even though that guy's pushing me into it. Damn it, I forgot to take the little shortcut right there. Whatever, I hit that. Damn. It's so sensitive as to whether or not you hit the edge of the track. Still pulled first out of it though. Oh, he was a whole 2 seconds behind me. Shit. Thought he was on my ass. One more, baby. One more and we go platinum. I'm just trying to unlock my car, man. Damn, I only do one more of these and I gotta go to bed anyway. They would have joined the Discord, I might have actually played some Siege with them, or at least started the download, but if we could get another teammate or two, but 3 out of 5 I guess wouldn't have been bad, but I didn't realize what time it was. I need to go to bed anyway. Okay, maybe tomorrow. I need to get off Fortnite. Fucking Enjoy got me hooked on this shit again. I gotta get back into. I gotta get to working on the Minecraft server. I've been doing it off stream. Now I finally got it set up to where I can be able to build a house and start actually playing the game. Got all the mods and stuff I want in it. And then I streamed Fortnite anyway. Oh, the perfect drift. But so is this guy's. That wasn't so perfect. Too early. Too late. Oh, me and this guy are gonna battle it out. I can see it coming. Yeah, there you go. Waste all your boost. What? Well, not now. fucked up. Fuck. One mistake will get you in Fortnite rocket racing. Still taking third, motherfucker. I might have to do one more. I'm getting platinum for it, I bet. Oh, no, never mind. That was it. That did get me there. We going platinum. That's a good stopping point. Hitting platinum, baby. Oh yeah, platinum 1. All right, stage 4. Complete ranked matches, complete ranked matches, complete speed run. I do 175 speed run matches to get all the tire colors. Oh, that's bullshit. I mean, I got the color I want, so I don't really care. No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, witches of all ages. Thank you for keeping me company tonight. We learned some things. We went on a journey. We caught up with our old buddy Jordan Peterson. See how far down the crazy rabbit hole he's gone. And looks like he went down a crazy rabbit hole for a minute, and he's starting to pull himself back out. His fight for free speech in Canada I support. A lot of the other things he did in between what he was doing a few years ago and then, not so much. But hey, you know, it's been a journey. We learned about Too Mad. His journey tragically came to an end too soon. But he's a cautionary tale. Cautionary tale of the dangers of the incel mindset. What happens when you get too famous too fast. And drug addiction. So, these will probably become content on my channel later, my YouTube channel later. So, hey, if you missed it, you can always get your Death Witch on demand. The socials are above my head this time. So, you know, check me out. Pretty much Death Witch on everything. You know, if you're not able to get in on the Discord, leave a comment on a YouTube video or something. Let me know. Shoot me at me on X, Twitter, whatever. And I'll be sure to get you guys that link, because the perma link feature on Discord isn't exactly permanent. So I pretty much have to send those upon request. But the YouTube's where you can get your daily dose of Death Witch if you're not able to make the streams. X is where you can see my random posts. You can even watch my streams live there. You can watch them on Kick. You can watch them on Twitch. You can watch them on YouTube. And the Discord is where the community's at. Discord members who boost the server or support the stream in some way get access to the Minecraft realm, which is still currently setting up. But, you know, there'll be perks for joining the Discord. Plus, there's plenty of cool people there. For now, though, I'm going to bed. So I want to thank all you wonderful witches for watching. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good night, everybody.